Chapter 52. No, I'm sorry, sir, but President Sheen is very busy. You can't see him without an appointment. Stop pretending I was his high school classmate. No, sir, please don't make it difficult for me. If you were his high school classmate, you should have his contact information. I suggest you call our president directly. Wei Dong wanted to force his way in, but GK's security system was too strong. He couldn't even get to the first floor. Plus, he could go straight to the top floor of the 56th floor. When Qin Shu drove his low-key Audi R8 home, Wei Dong flagged down his car at the entrance of the parking lot. If Qin Shu didn't brake in time, he would have gone up. Qin Shu stopped the car with an unpleasant expression on his face, and he slowly rolled down the window. Qin Shu, get out of the car. Let's talk, Wei Dong said angrily. I don't think I have anything to talk to you about. Qin Shu was still as arrogant as ever. Of all his high school classmates, other than Huamin, he wouldn't even look at anyone else. He definitely wouldn't give Wei Dong face. Why are you doing this to my company? What did I do to offend you? Why are you forcing us to do this? Wei Dong's face was filled with anger. Qin Shu raised his head, his eyes cold. I'm going to buy your company at a low price within a week, leaving you and your father with hundreds of millions in debt. When the time comes, you'll have no choice but to jump off a building. That's the only way out for you. After hearing this, Wei Dong's face turned pale. If someone else said this, he would have laughed out loud and called them bragging. If it was Qin Shu who said this, then he would have cried his heart out. Who was Qin Shu? He was the heir of GK, and his family business was one of the best in the country. He was one of the top 50 business giants in Asia. It would be a piece of cake for him to wipe out a small company like theirs. Qin Shu, why are you doing this? We were classmates. Don't tell me. You still like Huamin, and you're afraid that I'll steal him from you? Wei Dong wasn't stupid, and he suddenly realized the key point. You want to fight with me? You really think highly of yourself. Are you worthy? Qin Shu sneered. Wei Dong was speechless. He was indeed unworthy. I'll give you 1 hour to draw a clear line between you and Huamin. Otherwise, you'll die a horrible death. After speaking, Qin Shu rolled up the car window and left the garage. Wei Dong stood rooted to the ground, dumbfounded. He really liked Huamin and really wanted to marry her. However, his dream had been ruined before even a day had passed. It seemed like he would never be able to marry a goddess in this lifetime. Huamin took off his clothes and was about to wash them when his phone rang. She picked it up and saw that it was a call from Wei Dong. She knew what she wanted to say. Therefore, she picked up the phone, and before Wei Dong could speak, she said, I've thought about it. I agree to your conditions. I'll get engaged to you. Please transfer the money to me quickly. My brother can't wait any longer. Huamin, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. On the other end of the phone, Wei Dong's voice was choked with emotion. What's wrong? Did something happen? Huamin asked, sensing that something was wrong with Wei Dong's tone. I don't think. I can lend you money. After hearing Wei Dong's words, Huamin's heart sank. Chapter 53. What's wrong? Are you afraid that I won't fulfill my promise after taking your money? I won't. I will do what I promise you, Huamin anxiously explained. No, it's not your problem. It's mine. Anyways, I'm sorry. I don't have the face to see you anymore. Then, before Huamin could say anything, Wei Dong hurriedly hung up the phone. Huamin felt as if her world had collapsed again. The 300,000 yuan that she had worked so hard to gather was now gone in an instant. She really wanted to cry, but Jixin was still waiting for her in the VIP operating room. In the end, she thought that if she couldn't do it, then she would go to the media. Even if everyone laughed at her, she didn't care. Saving Jixin's life was more important. She picked up her phone and was about to search for the media when she received a call from the hospital. Mian, hurry up and come over. Your brother's condition isn't good. Okay, I'll be right there. Half an hour later, outside the VIP room of the first hospital dash, this situation is rare, but it also means that the patient can't afford to wait any longer. I suggest we perform this surgery immediately, but I'm not sure. Huamin, I heard from the director that you know Dr. Qin, the special guest professor from last time. If that's the case, I suggest you ask Dr. Qin to perform the surgery. He'll be able to handle it better. After all, you don't want to see any sequelae. Let me think about it. There's no time to think. The patient is suffering from secondary cerebral hemorrhage. If this drags on, he'll die. Okay, wait for me. I'll go now. In the end, her love for Jixin overcame all rationality. Even if Qin Chu laughed at her, even if Qin Chu made things difficult for her, she had to try. For her dearest brother. Qin clan headquarters dash. President Qin, there's a lady here to see you. She says her surname is Hua. The receptionist called. Let her in, Qin Chu thought. Other than Huamin, he didn't know another woman with the surname Hua. 5 minutes later, Huamin knocked on the door. Come in. Huamin opened the door and walked in. Qin Chu was standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window. The moment he turned around, his eyes were filled with endless gentleness. It seemed that only Huamin could see such a look in his eyes. You've come. I came to find you because it's urgent. Go ahead. After hesitating for a moment, Huamin looked at Qin Chu and said slowly, My brother was in a car accident and is being treated in our hospital. However, because of intracranial hemorrhage, the surgery is very difficult and requires a second surgery. The doctors in the hospital are not confident. The director also talked to me and recommended you to be the doctor in charge this time. Also, say it all at once. Qin Chu looked at her and said, Also, the surgery costs 300,000 yuan. Even if you do the surgery, the equipment and drugs in the hospital will cost money. I don't have money. Can you lend me some more money? Huamin bit her lip and said these two requests with great difficulty. She had thought that Qin Chu would mock her and even make her kneel down, but Huamian didn't expect him to do that. After all, 7 years ago, she was the one who abandoned him. She even announced to the entire school that she and Qin Chu were purely classmates at the graduation ceremony. This broke Qin Chu's heart and forced him to leave the country. She thought that now was the time for him to take revenge on her. However, to her surprise, Qin Chu only said, Sure, no problem. Really? Huamin was in disbelief. The truth was, Qin Chu already knew about Huamin's brother. Huamin probably didn't know that Qin Chu was watching her every move. After Lu Xiying sent that WeChat message, Qin Chu even checked Huamin's call records with Wei Dong. That was why he gave the order to kill Deshang Steelworks. Therefore, when Huamin said this, Qin Chu didn't think it was sudden. He even thought it was an opportunity. I can do the surgery for your brother myself, and I can give you 300,000 yuan, but... Qin Chu paused. Huamin was slightly disappointed. She knew that he wouldn't help her for free. You have to marry me. What? Huamin was stunned. What kind of situation was this? How could he bring up the word marriage? Marry me, and I'll help you. Otherwise, no way. Qin Chu's tone was extremely firm. Chapter 54. You just want me. Why do you have to go through all the trouble of getting married? Just tell me how many times you want to sleep with me. Huamin sneered. She thought Qin Chu was just like Wei Dong, someone who took advantage of others when they were down. Deep down, she looked down on him. You're wrong. I do want to sleep with you, but I want to sleep with my wife openly, not in secret. Huamin remained silent after hearing this. You can think about it before you answer me. I don't need to think about it. I promise you that you can operate on my brother immediately, Huamin said without hesitation. Okay, let's go now. I'll take Evergreen Street, and we can register when we pass by the Civil Affairs Bureau. Today? Huamin was dumbfounded. Yeah, what else did you think it was? Qin Chu looked at her with a serious expression. Huamin was shocked. She didn't think that today was a good day to register their marriage. Are you afraid that I won't keep my promise? Do you not trust me that much? Huamin smiled bitterly. She thought that Qin Chu was afraid that she wouldn't keep her promise and wouldn't marry him after the surgery. However, she had no idea how long Qin Chu had been waiting for this day. No, I just think that today is a good day. Let's go. We still have to go to the hospital for the surgery. After speaking, Qin Chu picked up his jacket and walked out of the office. Huamin silently followed behind him. The female secretaries in the secretarial office were dumbfounded. Who's that woman? I thought the president doesn't allow other people into his office. Why is she allowed in? I don't know. She doesn't look like the president's girlfriend. She's not very pretty, and she's dressed very normal. Could she be the president's new nanny? Are you crazy? Would the president personally interview a nanny? Why don't we ask Assistant Yang? After the female secretaries finished their discussion, there was indeed someone who didn't know what was good for her and asked Assistant Yang. Assistant Yang, who's that woman? The president seems to treat her differently. How would I know? It's also my first time seeing it, Assistant Yang said innocently. Doesn't registration require a household register? I didn't bring mine, Huamin said softly from the front passenger seat. No need. Huamin was dumbfounded again. This was the first time he had heard that a marriage registration did not require a household register. In fact, she had also witnessed Qin Shu's remarkable abilities inside the Civil Affairs Bureau in the VIP reception room. The staff handed them a small red booklet. Is that all? Huamin asked uneasily. Yes, we can check your household registration through the system. I wish you a happy marriage. Let's go. Qin Shu quickly picked up one of the red books. He seemed to be in a good mood. Huamin followed behind him. He still couldn't believe that they could register without taking anything. She didn't know that when Qin Shu went to the garage to get the car, he called the middle-aged assistant of the leader. Then, he confidently asked for this reward. The middle-aged man was too efficient. How could the Civil Affairs Bureau dare to be negligent? Inside a tea house in Beijing, leader, I've done what you asked me to do. This kid is really special. He actually asked for this kind of reward. The old man had white hair and a kind frown on his face. That's why people who call themselves geniuses always come up with unexpected ideas, the middle-aged man said in all seriousness. Qin Shu, we should go to the hospital, Huamin urged. From now on, I'm your husband. After speaking, before Huamin could react, Qin Shu suddenly held her face and kissed her deeply. Then, before Huamin could react, he stepped on the gas and the car sped away. Huamin was still in shock in the car. Chapter 55. City First Hospital. Qin Shu was going to be the chief surgeon for Jing Jixin's surgery. When the director heard this, he didn't dare to delay and immediately called for the VIP operating room to be prepared. When Qin Shu changed into a white coat and stood outside the operating room, seriously reading through the information, Huamin looked at him from afar and was surprised by how charming he was. She couldn't believe that everything in front of her was real. There was really a day when she could see him standing in the operating room like a doctor. The light shone on his handsome face. Such a familiar figure, such a man who had once made her love deeply. He was there, so real. She slowly walked over, her footsteps light, but still alerted Qin Shu. The moment he raised his head and saw Huamin, his gaze softened. I want to go in and be your assistant. No need. You can wait outside for my news. Let me in. I went in last time for such an important surgery, so it won't be a problem this time. I'll be careful, Huamin said stubbornly. Qin Shu looked at her for a few seconds and slowly said, It's different this time. He's your brother. I don't want you to be distracted. But Huamin didn't seem to want to give up and wanted to say more. Qin Shu said to her, Do you trust me? Upon hearing this, Huamin was slightly stunned. Trust me. Leave it to me. After a few seconds of silence, Huamin nodded slightly. Dr. Qin, the surgery can begin. Everything is ready. The assistant chief surgeon opened the door and reminded him. Qin Shu took out a mask from the pocket of his coat and slowly put it on. Then, he turned around and walked into the operating room. At that moment, Huamin felt like he was the most handsome man in the world. Huamin waited outside the operating room, inevitably anxious. An hour and a half passed, but there was no sound from inside. Just then, footsteps sounded. Huamin raised his head and was slightly stunned when he saw who it was. Director, you're here. And what's the situation inside? I don't know yet. Huamin was a little worried. Don't worry, I believe in Dr. Qin's medical skills. Huamin nodded. At this moment, the dean said meaningfully, I'm afraid you're the only one who can invite him. Huamin was a little embarrassed. She didn't want to use her relationship with Qin Shu as a bargaining chip to show off, and she never felt the need to talk about it with anyone. I really want Gao Xian to hire him as a visiting professor, but unfortunately, GKCO isn't someone we can afford to hire with money. But I'm curious about something. As his friend, you should know about it, right? What is it? Huamin asked in a low voice. Dr. Qin was born into a noble family, and he was supposed to be GK's successor when he returned to China? Why did he study at Harvard Medical School after being abroad for 7 years? I think it's a bit puzzling. After Huamin heard this, he bit his lips slightly. After a while, he replied, "Actually, I'm not sure either." Upon hearing her answer, the dean was a little slightly disappointed. "Don't worry, I'm sure the surgery will be a success." "Thank you, Dean." Huamin nodded her head in thanks. The dean was about to turn and leave when he suddenly remembered something. He turned around and said, "An hour ago, the hospital received a payment from GK's finance department for the surgery. It was a total of 500,000 yuan. 300,000 yuan was for your brother's surgery, and I think the remaining 200,000 yuan is for the follow-up treatment." "Is that so?" Huamin was a little surprised. Not only did Qin Shu transfer the money so quickly, but he also added 200,000 yuan for the follow-up treatment. It seemed like he was very thoughtful. Finally, the dean looked at Huamin meaningfully and said, "Huamin, you're very lucky." After speaking, the dean turned around and left. Huamin stood there in a daze. She used to think that she was the luckiest person in the world to have met Qin Shu. Later, when Uncle Jing got into an accident and they broke up, she was in so much pain. She always thought about how great it would be if she never met Qin Shu. How great it would be if she never went to second high. However, now that time had passed, she realized that the dean was right. When she was in a desperate situation, there were so many people around her, but the only person who could help her was Qin Shu. It was as if she felt inexplicably safe with Qin Shu around. Just as her thoughts were running wild, Huamin's phone suddenly rang. "Do you need something from me?" Huamin's tone was cautious when he picked up the phone. Chapter 56. "Huamin, I heard your little brother got into a car accident." A man's voice came from the other end of the line. Although she didn't save his phone number, the last 2 digits of his phone number, 9999, left a deep impression on her. This person was indeed Hua Xiqian, the young master of the Hua family and the current vice president of the Hua Corporation. "Yes, what's wrong? Are you here to laugh at me? If you are, you've already seen it. I'm hanging up." Then, Huamin was about to hang up. "Wait, what else do you want?" Huamin didn't have a good impression of Hua Xiqian, even though he had been trying to get close to her all these years. For some reason, she didn't like him. Huamin even thought that he should be the same as Hua Yin and Hua Si. If he hated her, he should show it instead of being so fake. "Huamin, you misunderstood me. I told you before that I'm different from Hua Yin and Hua Si. You all have the same surname. What's the difference?" Huamin asked coldly. "Hi, you're right. Then let me ask you, what's your surname?" Hua Xiqian asked with a smile. "I don't have time to talk about these pointless things with you. I'm very busy. Goodbye." "Huamin, I can lend you money." Just as Huamin was about to hang up, Hua Xiqian blurted out. Huamin was surprised. "What? You want to lend me money?" "Yes, I heard that the driver escaped. The police and traffic police are still investigating, and you guys haven't received the appropriate compensation. However, your little brother is hospitalized at the first hospital and needs a lot of money for his treatment. I don't think you have any friends who can give you that much money, including your intern's fiancé. So, I think I can lend you the money. You can pay me back in the future without interest. Why are you being so nice to me?" Huamin sneered. She understood that one should not be rewarded without any effort. Hua Xiqian was a businessman, not a philanthropist. He definitely wouldn't do a losing business. She was really curious. "Why would he do this?" "Because you're my sister." Hua Xiqian smiled. "I don't have such a powerful brother like you. I've said it before, don't call me brother and sister anymore. If you want anything, I advise you to give up because I don't have any shares in the Hua family, and the old man won't leave me any inheritance. You've seen all these years, even if I die on the side of the road, he won't care about me. So I really don't have anything to help you, President Hua. You're thinking too much. What could I possibly want from you? I just want to help you." "Really? Thank you, but there's no need. My brother's surgery fees have been settled." "Done? Who paid so much for you?" Hua Xiqian was a little surprised. "You don't need to know that. Plus, I don't think we're close enough to discuss private matters like this. Don't call me too often in the future. I don't have time." With that, Huamin hung up the phone. She really thought that Hua Xiqian was a strange and weird person. Although he was the only one in the Hua family who treated her well, she just didn't like him for some reason. Years ago, after Uncle Jing's accident, she gave up on studying abroad and stayed in China to study at a third-rate university. Hua Xiqian had approached her many times and offered to send her to England, but she had rejected him every time. She really didn't want to have anything to do with the Hua family. She didn't want to go back to that heartless family for the rest of her life. As for her siblings, she only acknowledged Jing Jixin as her brother. As for the others, she really didn't want to talk to them. Time slowly passed by. 5 hours later, the door to the ear opened. Huamin immediately stood up. Chapter 57. She thought she saw Qin Shu, but to her surprise, it was Dr. Liu from the hospital's neurosurgery department. Dr. Liu, how's my brother? The surgery was a success. Excellent. Upon hearing this, Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. The weight that had been weighing on his heart for the past few days was finally lifted. Your brother is very lucky. The blood clot in his brain is located in a very sensitive area, and there has never been a successful case like this in China. However, Dr. Qin's medical skills are incredible. With him as the lead surgeon, our chances of success are much higher. Dr. Liu was generous with his praise. Huamin smiled slightly. Everyone was praising Qin Shu. It was obvious that he played a key role in this surgery. Where's my brother? He was pushed to the VIP room by the assistant. He'll wake up in 12 hours, don't worry. Okay, thank you, Dr. Liu. It's okay, we didn't do much, we just assisted. Dr. Qin is the one who really worked hard, but he seems to be a bit unwell and is in the waiting room. Then, Dr. Liu and the other doctors and nurses left the operating room. Seeing that Qin Shu didn't come out, Huamin opened the door and walked in. The surgery was over, and the waiting room next to it was for the lead surgeon to take a break. When Huamin walked in, he saw Qin Shu sitting on the sofa, looking a bit haggard. She probably didn't know that Qin Shu had just returned from a business trip the night before the surgery. Then, he had a meeting that very night. Because GK was involved in too many industries, it was very busy 365 days a year. Although Qin Shu's father, Qin Yuman, was the chairman of GK, his heart was weak and his blood pressure was high. Therefore, he had entered a state of quiet recuperation. Other than projects that involved billions of yuan, he didn't interfere with anything else and left it to Qin Shu to run. Although Qin Shu didn't like the position of GK's president, because of the promise from many years ago, he would do his best. He had a lot of work to do, he didn't sleep well last night, and he had to rush to the surgery today. Naturally, he was exhausted. The most important thing was that he hadn't eaten anything for an entire day. His stomach was already starting to protest. Brain surgeries were torturous because they required high concentration. Otherwise, one wrong step could endanger the patient's life or cause permanent sequelae. What's more, his opponent was Hua Min's younger brother. Naturally, Qin Shu would do his best. Drink some warm water. You don't look well. Hua Min filled a disposable paper cup with warm water and handed it over. Qin Shu raised his head and glanced at Hua Min. He took the cup but did not say anything. Thank you so much for today. Hua Min expressed his heartfelt gratitude. Qin Shu held the cup of hot water in his hand and replied word by word. There's no need to be so polite between husband and wife. Hua Min was speechless for a moment. If he hadn't reminded her, she would have forgotten that today was the day they registered their marriage. Qin Shu. Can you not tell anyone about our marriage? Why not? After all, our identities are so different. Are you trying to say that my status as GK's president is embarrassing you? Do you think it's embarrassing? Qin Shu put down the cup of water he hadn't had time to drink, and his tone gradually turned cold. No, I just don't want the media to report on us. I don't want my mom to see us. You should know how much she misunderstands you. Do we have to keep our marriage a secret for the rest of our lives because of this? Qin Shu was obviously unwilling to accept the fact that he couldn't tell his wife about his marriage. God knew. He wanted nothing more than to announce to the world that he and Hua Min were married. Chapter 58. Hua Min shook his head. No, I just want to give my mom some time. After all, she's not in good health. I'm afraid that she won't be able to accept it right away. Qin Shu stared into Hua Min's eyes for a while. Finally, he gave in Hua Min's sincere gaze. Then we'll do as you say. After speaking, Qin Shu stood up and walked out. Where are you going? Back to the company, Qin Shu said as he took off his white coat and walked out. Eat something before you leave. There's a staff cafeteria downstairs. After Hua Min said this, he regretted it. How could someone like Qin Shu go to the staff cafeteria? It's okay. As expected, he refused. Just as he walked to the door, Qin Shu suddenly remembered something. He turned around, walked back a few steps, picked up the cup of warm water on the coffee table, and drank it all in one gulp. It tastes good. After speaking, Qin Shu turned around and left again. Hua Min was dumbfounded. It was just a cup of water. How could it taste that good? When Qin Shu returned to the company, Assistant Yang was about to go crazy. The president had lost contact with him for 5 hours. His phone was turned off, and he couldn't find him no matter what happened. He even had to ask the chairman, but now the chairman made a big deal out of nothing and sent everyone to look for the president. He almost called the police. President Qin, you're finally back. Assistant Yang looked like he was about to cry. What's up? There's an important document that needs your signature, but I couldn't get through to your phone. In the end, I called the chairman, and he came to take care of it, but go on. But the chairman seems to be very worried about your safety. Many people in the company are looking for your car. They've searched the entire city. They thought that something happened to you. President Qin, where did you go? Do I have to report to you where I go? Qin Shu glanced at Assistant Yang faintly. No, that's not what I meant. I'm just worried about your safety, Chairman Qin. Also, there are too many things going on in the company. I really can't handle it if I can't find you in 5 hours. If GK's assistant position was so easy, why would I hire you for 30,000 a month? Qin Shu asked back. Assistant Yang was speechless. However, what the CEO said seemed to make sense. Shouldn't the assistant help the CEO deal with some messy matters? President Qin, these documents need your signature. Please take a look. Yes. Qin Shu nodded, but his expression didn't look good. President Qin, you don't look too well. Pour me a glass of water, Qin Shu ordered. Yes. Assistant Yang carefully placed a cup of warm water on the table. Qin Shu took a sip of water while looking at the pile of documents. Then, he frowned slightly. What's wrong? President Qin, isn't it too cold? Why doesn't it taste good? Qin Shu looked up and asked in all seriousness. Assistant Yang froze for a second, then stuttered as he explained. This isn't coffee or tea. It's just plain water. Of course it doesn't taste good. But the one I just drank was delicious. President Qin, where did you drink it? I'll go learn how to drink it later and see what brand they drink. Qin Shu didn't say anything else. He lowered his head and began working seriously again. After Hua Min's surgery, Jing Jixin was doing well. After Hua Min told his mother the news, although she was still unhappy, she looked a lot more relaxed. She walked out of the room and planned to report to the head nurse at the OB/GYN department. However, she was stopped by an unfamiliar middle-aged woman. You're Jing Jixin's sister, right? You are? I'm also a family member of a serial car accident. My son was also seriously injured and broke one of his legs. Why are you looking for me? Hua Min asked the family member, whom he didn't know. Are you satisfied with the compensation that they offered? Did you agree to settle it privately? Compensation? Privately? Hua Min was confused. No one was looking for her. Chapter 59. Yeah, didn't they come looking for you? No. Oh, then they'll probably come soon. They've already come to us 3, so it'll be your turn soon. Aside from the girl who died, your brother was the most seriously injured out of the 3 of us, so they'll probably compensate you more than us. As she spoke, Hua Min saw the envy in the middle-aged woman's eyes. I've already done my research on this malicious car accident. Apparently, the perpetrator was drunk and was even speeding on campus, which prohibits speeding. This is a terrible behavior, and it's not something that can be solved with compensation and an apology. It's already a criminal offense. After I gather the evidence in a few days, I'll sue them. I don't want any compensation. I just want a fair result. With that, Huamin turned around and left. This girl must be an idiot, the middle-aged woman muttered to herself behind Huamian. Was Huamin really an idiot? Of course not. She just didn't want to use her brother's health in exchange for some so-called compensation. What she wanted was to bring the malicious perpetrator to justice, to cause a drunken car accident on campus, and cause a chain accident that resulted in 1 death and 3 injuries. Not only did he not take responsibility for his actions, he even ran away. This kind of person was truly immoral. Apparently, the girl who died was the girl who sat in the passenger seat beside him. Apparently, they were even dating. Now that his girlfriend had died in the hospital, not only did that brat not show up, but his lawyer had been talking to the family members in private. Huamin already had an idea in her mind. Luckily, Jixin was fine. Otherwise, if there were any sequelae, she would rather give up everything and fight it out with those people. As expected, just as Huamin was about to get off work, she received a call from the perpetrator's lawyer, asking for a private talk. After Huamin agreed, she went straight to the coffee shop they had agreed to meet at. It was near the hospital. The other party was a lawyer in his 40s. He wore glasses, had a square face, and was wearing a black suit with a black briefcase in hand. "You miss Huamin, right?" Huamin nodded. "Hello, I'm Luo Qing, the lawyer representing the client, Louis Gong. I'm here today for a simple reason. The Liu family wants to settle this privately. They don't want to make a big deal out of it, nor do they want to go through legal procedures. I heard that Miss Hua's brother is seriously injured and is receiving treatment. I think it will cost a lot of money. I suggest that you give me a reasonable amount, and I'll ask the client to compensate you. Do you think they can satisfy me with just a random number?" Huamian sneered. "Of course not. As long as it's within reason, we can accept it," said Mr. Luo confidently. "What do you mean within reason? Mr. Song, please explain. I don't really understand." Huamin smiled. Mr. Luo immediately took out a thick stack of documents from his briefcase and said to Huamian, "Miss Hua, we have some understanding of your family situation. Your family situation isn't very good, so I'm sure you'll need this money. Of course, we won't give you too little. After all, in addition to the cost of the treatment, we'll also pay you some compensation for psychological damage. I heard that the surgery costs around 300,000 yuan, and the follow-up treatment costs 70,000 to 80,000 yuan. On top of that, we'll add another 300,000 yuan. My client wants to pay 700,000 yuan. What do you think, Miss Hua?" 700,000 yuan. MHM, that's a lot of money, Huamin slowly said. Chapter 60. Lawyer Luo immediately pushed the documents over and smiled. "Since Miss Hua is fine with it, please sign it. I promise to settle this privately, so I can get my client to transfer the money. But can 700,000 yuan buy my brother's health? Do you know that he almost suffered from cerebral palsy?" asked Huamin coldly, glaring at Lawyer Luo. When Mr. Luo saw that the situation had changed, his expression changed slightly. Then he adjusted his glasses and said, "We're also very sorry about this. My client was also drunk at the time. He didn't do it on purpose. He knows that he was wrong." "I don't think so. He hasn't shown his face even once since the accident. Also, he fled right after the accident. I don't think he would have taken responsibility for it if it hadn't caused such a huge impact." "That's not it. How about this, Miss Hua? We're both straightforward people, so I won't hide it from you. The compensation for the other 2 victims is 500,000 yuan each, and one of them even lost a leg. Your brother is said to be out of danger, and the surgery was very successful. I'll give you an additional 100,000 yuan, 800,000 yuan. That way, you'll get a lot more than the other 2. Is that okay?" "How about that? 800,000 yuan. Haha, then I'll pay 800,000 yuan. Will you let me hit you so hard that you end up like my brother?" Lawyer Luo's expression immediately darkened. "Miss Hua, we're very sincere. Since it has already happened, we have to face it. You have to know that we only paid 850,000 yuan for the girl who died. Comparatively speaking, 800,000 yuan is already a lot. Also, we will transfer the money immediately and won't delay the payment by even a day. Don't you need money?" "Compared to money, I believe that I need a fair outcome more," said Huamin as she stared at Lawyer Luo. So you're saying, I won't accept a private settlement. I will file a lawsuit with the court. According to the current traffic laws, your client has caused a serious car accident. Not only was he drunk driving, but he was also fleeing. Speeding on campus is strictly prohibited. I believe the judge will give me a reasonable explanation. After Huamin said this, lawyer Luo suddenly laughed. What are you laughing at? Huamin was a little angry. I'm laughing at how naive you are, Miss Hua. I didn't expect such a naive girl like you to exist. What do you mean? Miss Hua, you probably don't know my client's background. My client, LV Gong, is just a 21-year-old college student. Do you know what his parents do? Huamin remained silent and waited for Huamin. It's okay to tell you. His parents are both officials and his relatives are officials. To put it bluntly, he is the second generation of officials. What do you think the court can win against someone with such a background? If you know what's good for you, why don't you just accept the compensation and let the matter rest? Even if someone's daughter died, they wouldn't speak as righteously as you. Don't think that you're some kind of judge who wants justice. Let me tell you, there is no justice in this world. If you have money and power, you are the sky. If you don't have money and power, you will be stepped on by others. You might feel uncomfortable saying this, but so what? It's the truth. He has a background? I'm so scared. Huamin smiled faintly. Then he continued, Indeed, he has a powerful background. I can tell that this isn't a simple matter from the way the Ministry of Transportation and the police are dragging their feet. But so what? Do we have to spoil him just because he has a background? I'm not his mother. Why should I forgive him if he makes a mistake? Suing him in court is just a procedure. I have to go through with it. You can also choose to use your connections. But don't forget, there's another place called the media. If the media makes too much noise and public opinion becomes too much, I want to see how long his powerful parents can protect him. After Huamin finished speaking, lawyer Luo was completely speechless. Chapter 61. He originally thought that Huamin was just a naive little girl. He didn't expect her to be so meticulous. Miss Hua, tell me, we want an order for you to stop. How much do you want? Just name a price. Mr. Luo thought that Huamin was making such a fuss because she wasn't satisfied with the compensation. I think you don't understand my intentions. I may have been short of money before, but now I have enough money for my brother's surgery. So, no matter how much money you give me, it won't stop me from suing you. If you really want to settle this peacefully, why don't you let the drunk driver who caused the serial car accident stay in prison for 3 to 5 years and teach him how to be a good person? That way, he won't continue to hurt others after drinking. Are you kidding me? You want my client to turn himself in? That's impossible. Really? Then I'll see you in court, Mr. Luo. With that, Huamin stood up and left. Miss Hua, is there no room for negotiation? Mr. Luo didn't give up and chased after her with questions. This time, Huamin didn't even look back. She opened the door and walked out. She couldn't imagine what kind of person was thinking when he drove a Porsche around the campus, causing 1 death and 3 serious injuries. The one who died was his girlfriend. In that kind of situation, if his girlfriend was seriously injured, shouldn't he immediately call the police or 120? Why would he get out of the car, open the door, and run away without caring about the lives of others? She heard that the dead girl missed the best time to be saved because she was sent to the hospital too late. Otherwise, she might have survived. How could she forgive such a scumbag? Her little brother almost became disabled. His health couldn't be measured by money. Late at night, in a certain RV. You mean that the other party won't compromise? No matter how much they pay? A middle-aged man asked faintly. Yes, Mr. Liu. That girl is very stubborn and insists on suing. She even said that she will alert the media and make sure your son goes to jail. Ridiculous. My son isn't someone that lowly commoner can do whatever she wants. Yes, Mr. Liu, you're right. Next week, Mr. Luo probed carefully. We will take care of the rest. You just need to get the other 3 families to sign first. Huamin went back to his rented apartment and changed his clothes. Then, he took the bus back to the hospital because he was worried about his mother. Mom, Jixin is fine now. He'll wake up tomorrow. Don't worry. Let me ask you, where did you get the money to pay for Jixin's surgery? I heard from the doctor that it cost hundreds of thousands. I borrowed it from a friend. Which friend has the ability to lend you so much money? Don't tell me you've spoken to that damned mother of yours? No, with that guy's personality, he would never give you so much money. Did you do something shameful? Yang Meirong stared into her daughter's eyes and asked coldly, Mom, I didn't. Huamin thought that if her mother found out that she was married to Qin Chu, then she would be condemned for eternity. Then let me ask you, how are things going between you and Ning Ziyuan? Are you still going to marry him? Yang Meirong asked again. At the mention of Ning Ziyuan, Huamin fell silent for a moment. In fact, she didn't know what to say. Why aren't you talking? Are you mute? Yang Meirong continued to interrogate. After a moment of silence, Huamin slowly said, Mom, Ning Ziyuan and I have broken up. We won't have anything to do with each other anymore. Is it because of that kid from the Qin family? No. Huamin immediately denied. Don't blame me for not reminding you of how your Uncle Jing died back then. The Qin family is our enemy. If you dare to have anything to do with their family again, don't blame me for flaying your skin. Yang Meirong threatened fiercely. I know. Huamin obviously didn't have much confidence. No one knew how difficult it was for her. If she didn't marry Qin Chu, Jixin might have died a long time ago. Just then, Huamin's phone rang. When she saw the caller ID, she immediately felt guilty. What she was afraid of really happened. Who else could it be but Qin Chu with 8,866 yuan? Chapter 62. Mom, I'm going out to take a call. It's getting late. You should get some rest. I'll get you discharged tomorrow, and then we'll go see Jixin. After speaking, Huamin carefully left the room with his phone in hand. Hello. She quietly picked up the phone. Where are you? Qin Chu asked. The hospital. When are you going back? I'm working the night shift. When do you get off work? Tomorrow morning. I'll pick you up. No need. Why not? Qin Chu was clearly displeased. Did he have to remind her that they were already married? It's because your Audi R8 is too flashy, and I don't want people to talk about it in the hospital. Plus, even the director's car isn't as good as yours. If Huan Mian remembered correctly, the director only drove an Audi A8. If she really got into an Audi R8 at the hospital entrance, her spine would probably be torn apart. On the other end, Qin Chu remained silent. Huan Mian thought he was angry. Actually, I can take the bus by myself, she added. Slam. He hung up the phone. This guy's temper was still the same as 7 years ago, arrogant and twisted. What a weirdo. After working the night shift, Huamin was extremely sleepy. When she woke up in the morning, she helped her mother get discharged. Then, the two of them went to the VIP room together. Jixin hadn't woken up yet, but Dr. Liu said that his vitals had stabilized, and it was only a matter of time before he woke up. In the end, her mother stayed to take care of Jixin, and Huamin planned to go home and get a good night's sleep. It had been a few days, and she felt like she was going to break down after being in the hospital for so long. When Huamin walked out of the hospital, a white Volkswagen CC stopped in front of her. Just as she was wondering what was going on, the person in the car rolled down the window and said, Get in. Why are you here? Huamin didn't think that Qin Chu would come and drive such a low-key Volkswagen CC. The cars behind kept honking because the arrogant car owner was standing at the entrance, seriously disrupting the traffic. Huamin didn't dare to stay any longer. He immediately opened the door and sat in the passenger seat. Satisfied, Qin Chu started the car and drove away. You changed your car? She asked softly. It's my assistant's car. I borrowed it, Qin Chu said casually. God knows, he called Xiao Yang early in the morning and said that he wanted to swap cars with him. Little Yang was very conflicted. He really didn't have the confidence to drive Boss Audi R8 to work. Also, what was so good about his CC that cost less than 300,000 yuan? Why did the boss take a fancy to it? After saying this, Huamin stopped talking. The two of them looked at each other in silence. What do you want to eat? In? Huamin was confused by Qin Chu's sudden question. What do you want to eat? Let's not eat. I don't have much of an appetite. Chinese or Western? Qin Chu didn't care about Hua Min's reaction and continued to ask. After hesitating for a long time, she saw that this guy was still as domineering as before. She had no choice but to compromise. Chinese, then. 15 minutes later, the car stopped in front of first-class royal palace. Qin Chu took her in and went straight to the private room on the second floor. Then, they ordered shrimp dumplings, crab congee, and morning tea. Hua Min hadn't eaten so much in the morning for a long time. While eating, she secretly glanced at Qin Chu. She saw him eating elegantly while flipping through the screen of his phone to check today's stock market. "I'm done." Hua Min finally put down the spoon and slowly said, "In, then you can pay with your card," Qin Chu said casually. Why do I have to pay?" Hua Min was about to go crazy. She felt that Qin Chu shouldn't be such a stingy person. Besides, what kind of place was first-class royal palace? A breakfast here cost at least 1,000 yuan, right? She didn't have that much cash on her. She only had around 200 yuan for pocket money. Qin Chu raised his head, picked up a tissue, and elegantly wiped the corner of his mouth. He looked at Hua Min and said seriously, "My salary for this month was transferred to your card last night. Of course, you have to pay." Hua Min froze on the spot. Chapter 63. He said that he transferred his salary for this month to her card. This news came too suddenly, and she didn't even have time to process it. "Waiter, the bill, please," Qin Chu said. "Hello, your total bill is 1,080 yuan. I'm looking for her," Qin Chu said casually as he pointed at Hua Min. Hua Min took out the only ICBC card from her bag. If she remembered correctly, there was less than 800 yuan left on this card. She didn't know how much money Qin Chu transferred to her. He wasn't messing with her, right? After the waiter swiped the card, he carefully returned it, and the two of them walked out of the restaurant together. Hua Min was still struggling with the question, but she was too embarrassed to ask it. "Do you want to know how much my monthly salary is?" Qin Chu asked on her behalf when he saw how conflicted she was. Hua Min immediately nodded her head. Her cute look made Qin Chu's lips curve up slightly. "Why don't you check your bank account on your phone?" What kind of stupid answer was that? Was he messing with her? Just then, Qin Chu's phone rang. "Okay, I got it, but I have something important to take care of right now. Tell them to postpone the meeting for 30 minutes. After speaking, Qin Chu hung up the phone. "Since you have something important to take care of, let's go our separate ways here. I'll take the bus home." Qin Chu glanced at Hua Min and said coldly, "The important thing I said was to take you home." Qin Chu looked at her like she was an idiot. Sometimes, he really wondered if Hua Min, a super genius with an IQ of 130, was actually a weirdo with a high IQ but a low EQ. After hearing this, Hua Min's expression slowed down by half a beat. Then, a warm feeling rose in her heart. "Let's go. Get in the car." 20 minutes later, Qin Chu sent Hua Min to her rented apartment. "All right, I'm here. Please send me back." Hua Min was still not used to Qin Chu's kindness. After all, they had been separated for more than 7 years. Suddenly living together in such an intimate relationship, there was really no way to adapt at all. "I'll pick you up after work." "There's no need for that. The rent here will be refunded. Move to my place." Qin Chu's tone was tough. "No." Hua Min immediately refused. Qin Chu stared at her with a complicated expression. "We're husband and wife. We can't live separately right after we got married, right? Or do you think that after I help you, you can ignore me for half a year and then ask for a divorce? Are you trying to burn the bridge after crossing the river?" "That's not what I meant," Hua Min explained. "Then it's settled. I'll pick you up tonight. Don't bring anything from here. We don't need anything over there." Without waiting for Hua Min to reply, Qin Chu turned around and left. Hua Min looked at the tall and handsome back and sighed slightly. It had been 7 years. His overbearing, arrogant, and prideful temper hadn't changed at all. In fact, it seemed to have gotten worse. But was it really convenient to move in with him? Didn't he live with his parents? She had met Mr. and Mrs. Qin years ago. They didn't like her at all. She didn't like them either. After Uncle Jing died, she saw Qin Chu's parents as murderers. Hua Min couldn't imagine what it would be like to live under the same roof as her enemies. When Qin Chu returned to the company, There was still 5 minutes before the meeting. He walked straight into the meeting room and flipped through the documents his assistant gave him. Then, he listened to the reports from the higher-ups of each department. An hour later, the meeting was over. Qin Shu hadn't said a single word. President Qin, the meeting is about to end. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Assistant Yang asked carefully. Qin Shu slowly closed the documents in his hands and looked around. All of the higher-ups lowered their heads. They didn't dare to make eye contact with their boss in case they made a mistake. Inform the finance department that all employees will receive double pay this month. President Qin, this? The good news came so suddenly that Assistant Yang didn't know what to say. The other higher-ups also had astonished expressions on their faces. Today, could it be some kind of auspicious day? Chapter 64. President Qin, did the company get a good project? One of the vice presidents asked, trying to suck up to Qin Shu. Qin Shu thought for a moment. Then he leaned on his forehead and said thoughtfully, "A good project? Yes, it's a project that I've been thinking about for years, and now it's finally settled." That's great, President Qin. Can you tell us what the project is? We want to share the good news with you. The vice president continued to suck up to Qin Shu. To his surprise, Qin Shu slowly stood up, adjusted his collar, and said faintly, "You don't need to know. Anyways, today is a good day." Then, Qin Shu turned around and left. The executives were left in a mess. Assistant Yang secretly counted with his 10 fingers. There were a total of 2,000 employees at GK's headquarters, and the employees' monthly salary was 8 million yuan. However, with one sentence from the president, they were offered 8 million yuan more this month. It seemed like rich people could do whatever they wanted. Their boss was more than just a little capricious. President Qin. Assistant Yang followed behind Qin Shu and ran over. What is it? There's something I want to say. Say it, but I'm afraid you'll be mad. Then don't say it. Qin Shu's words almost made Assistant Yang cry. No, President Qin, I really want to talk to you. Say it. When are you going to give my car back to me? Assistant Yang looked like he was about to cry. He drove his boss's Audi R8 to work every day, and not only did he have to endure criticism from his colleagues, but he also had to worry about getting to and from work every day. He was afraid that he would scratch his boss's car, and that he couldn't afford to pay for it. Although his boss's car was insured, if he scratched his boss's beloved car, then it wouldn't be a problem that money could solve. If that happened, he might even lose his job. Speaking of which, Assistant Yang's job was like a free lunch that fell from the sky. The former president's assistant was a very capable middle-aged woman, but as soon as the new president took office, he transferred her to a subsidiary company to be the president. The empty position was supposed to be filled by an outsider, but the new president chose him, the most inconspicuous person out of all the recruiters. When GK called him and told him to come to work, he thought he had encountered a scammer. Later, he found out that the new CEO had chosen him for 2 reasons. Firstly, he was a man, and the new CEO did not seem to like to have too much contact with women. Secondly, he also studied in Erzhong High School. It was said that the CEO was also a student of Erzhong High School. Speaking of which, they were schoolmates. Yang wasn't stupid. He could vaguely sense that Second High held an extraordinary significance to the new president. However, the president was so capricious. He borrowed his Volkswagen CC and gave him an Audi R8, which made him very depressed. After listening to Yang's request, Qin Shu pondered for a while and asked, "Is the car not fast enough?" Assistant Yang hurriedly waved his hands. No, it's simply too fast. Don't you like that color? No, President Qin, I like the color too. It's high-end and classy. That means you don't think it's cool enough. If that's the case, I have a Ferrari and a Lamborghini in my garage. Before Qin Shu could finish, Assistant Yang almost knelt down. President Qin, it's really cool, but it's not suitable for someone my status. I'm just an assistant. How can I afford such a good car? These past few days, I've been tossing and turning in bed, unable to sleep. I'm scared that I'll be scratched during the day, and I'm scared that my car will be stolen at night. President Qin, please do me a favor and return my car to me. Seeing how sincere Assistant Yang was, Qin Shu thought for a while and nodded. Okay, since you're in such a difficult situation, I'll return your car to you. Thank you for your understanding, President Sheen. Assistant Yang finally let out a sigh of relief. Then call the 4S shop later and order me a car that's exactly the same as yours. Assistant Yang was once again confused. He didn't understand why the president lowered his status and insisted on driving a Volkswagen. Was it just because it was locally produced? Was the president very, very patriotic? Sir, do you know how to sing the March of the Volunteer Army? After hesitating for a while, Assistant Yang weakly asked. Qin Shu frowned slightly and looked at this weird male assistant in confusion. Chapter 65. Sir, I'll go buy a car for you right now. Seeing the president's expression, Assistant Yang didn't dare to say anything more and turn around to leave. Qin Shu sat quietly in his office under the warm sunlight. He carefully opened the drawer of his desk and took out the yellowed, old photo. He quietly looked at it for a while. Finally, he carefully put it back. Luxury Design Department. Jiang Linhua heard that the president was in a good mood today and even gave her double pay, so she thought this was a rare opportunity. After work, Jiang Linhua purposely carried a lot of documents and walked towards the president's office in her 5-inch heels. As she wished, she saw the president walk out of his office. Just as the two were about to walk past each other, Jiang Linhua purposely slipped. Then, all the documents in her hands flew out. She also elegantly fell to the ground. Jiang Linhua didn't realize what happened until she was lying on the ground and felt pain all over her body. Shouldn't the president be the one to catch her at a critical moment and gently hug her? That's how romance novels are written, and that's how the 8 p.m. TV shows are played. Who would tell her why she didn't succeed? Qin Shu looked at the female employee who fell in front of him and frowned slightly. Walking over her was too ungentlemanly. Qin Shu decided to walk around Jiang Linhua as if she was nothing more than an obstacle in his way. Then, he picked up his phone and called his assistant, Assistant Yang. Sir, what are your orders? Tell the administration department that starting tomorrow, all female employees at the company are not allowed to wear shoes over 3 inches high. Understood, sir. Although Assistant Yang didn't know why the president gave such a strange order, he did as he was told. Jiang Linhua looked at the president's back as he left, wanting to cry. What could she do to get close to this sugar daddy? She felt a sharp pain in her foot. Would it break? She really did everything she could to get the president's attention. Huamin took a hot shower at home, washed a lot of clothes, and did a thorough cleaning. Just as she was about to take a break, she heard a knock on the door. She looked at the clock. It was 5:30. It seemed that the person who came at this time should be Qin Shu. Sure enough, when she opened the door, she saw Qin Shu standing at the door. He was wearing a navy blue custom-made Italian suit. He hadn't had time to change, which meant that he had just gotten off work. I'll pick you up. Let's go. I still have a lot of things here. I'll take them all. No, I'll get someone to take care of this. You just need to bring some necessities. I'll wait for you in the car. 10 minutes later, Min came out of the room with a cardboard box. Inside were some of her favorite books and a watermelon pillow. She had lived in this house for more than a year, so she really couldn't bear to move out all of a sudden. However, Qin Shu was right. Since the two of them were already married, it was indeed a bit unreasonable to continue living separately. When you check out, don't forget to take back the 2,000 yuan deposit that I paid, Huamin reminded as he sat in the passenger seat. Qin Shu was a bit speechless, but he still nodded. On the way back, Huamin was a bit uneasy. Are we going to live with your parents? After a long moment of hesitation, Huamin finally asked, Are you kidding me? So you're saying that we're going to live alone? Huamin was a bit excited. What do you think? Qin Shu asked back. Chapter 66. Huamin bit her lips and didn't say anything else. However, she was secretly relieved. She really didn't like Qin Shu's parents and didn't want to have anything to do with them. Half an hour later, they arrived at Imperial Park, the largest wealthy district in First Ring Road. Qin Shu slowly stopped the car. Huamian raised her head and looked at the luxurious wealthy district, feeling emotional. This place opened 2 years ago and was only sold last year. It was said that the unit price per square meter was more than 80,000 yuan. This was a famous wealthy district in Sea City. Apparently, a famous feng shui master from Hong Kong was hired to take a look. It was backed by a mountain facing a lake, and on the left was the road. It was as the saying went, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise were all here because it was close to the largest natural lake, Lake Emerald. The property prices here were always high. Netizens on the forum once joked that this place was a treasure trove of feng shui. If the direction was reversed, it would be as good as the Sun Yat-sen Mausoleum. Are we staying here? Yes. Qin Shu nodded and led Huamin inside. It was a small high-rise design. The tallest building was only 16 floors. The space between the floors was large, and there was plenty of sunlight. The architectural style was British style with a dark red exterior. Huamin liked it very much. The district lobby was luxuriously decorated and could be compared to a five-star hotel. Qin Shu led Huamin into the spacious elevator and pressed the 16th floor. It seemed like it was the top floor, Huamin thought to herself. A few seconds later, they arrived at the 16th floor. Huamin looked around and was surprised to find that there was only one unit on this floor. It seemed like there was only one unit per floor. Rich people really could do whatever they wanted. Qin Shu took out the key and opened the door. Huamin followed him in. Huamin's eyes lit up when she saw the facilities inside. It was a spacious and bright duplex. Everything upstairs and downstairs could be seen at a glance. The white European-style decor was grand and gorgeous. At a glance, it was at least 200 square meters. In such a sky-high price area, it was really a luxurious house among luxurious houses. Because we decided to get married at the last minute, we didn't have time to choose an address, so we bought this place at the last minute. We'll make do with it for a while. When the renovation of the Nanshan Villa is done, we'll move there. No need, it's fine here. Huamin swallowed his saliva and replied slowly. If I didn't hear wrong, Qin Shu said that he bought this place at the last minute and wanted to make do with it. Oh my God, 80,000 yuan per square meter, a prime location in First Ring Road, less than 10 minutes walk from the first hospital. Qin Shu actually said that he would make do with a house that cost more than 10 million yuan and renovations that cost more than 1 million yuan. Everything here is complete. If you need anything, just tell me, and I'll get someone to prepare it. All right. Huamin nodded. At this moment, Qin Shu's phone rang. Hey, I'll go back now. Wait for me. After hanging up the phone, Qin Shu looked at Huamin and said, I have to go back to the Nanshan Villa for a bit. You should get some rest. Okay. Huamin nodded. Qin Shu got up and was about to leave when he suddenly thought of something. He walked in a few steps, took out a key card and a bunch of keys, and placed them in Huamin's palm. Take these are the keys. The real estate certificate is on the coffee table. You can keep these. After speaking, Qin Shu turned around and left. Huamin held onto the keys, a little confused. She just moved in with Qin Shu. She glanced at the real estate certificate on the coffee table and opened it. Sure enough, she was the owner of the house. At this moment, she actually felt her eyes sting. It wasn't that a man spending money on you was a good thing. It was just that she understood Qin Shu. Although he was domineering and overbearing, he would always give you what he thought was the best. That was his way of being nice. It was like this 7 years ago, and it was still like this 7 years later. Qin Shu, he was the man that she once loved so deeply that it was engraved in her heart. Huamin stared at the real estate certificate in a daze. Then, she suddenly thought of something and quickly took out her phone to open up the mobile banking app. Then, she entered the password and checked her balance. If she remembered correctly, Qin Shu said that he transferred this month's salary to her card yesterday. She really wanted to know how much Sundar Qin's monthly salary was. Chapter 67. When Huamin saw his balance, he was shocked. He carefully looked at the zeros. 110, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million. That's right, with Huamin's 800 yuan balance, he had a total of 1,800,000 yuan. So, Qin Shu's monthly salary was 1 million yuan? 1 million yuan wasn't a lot for Qin Shu. The GK Corporation's total assets were at least a few billion yuan. A mere 1 million yuan was just a formality. The finance department gave the president a symbolic salary of 1 million yuan each month. However, 1 million yuan was already an astronomical figure for Huamin. Did that mean she would never have to worry about food and clothing? Did this mean she married into a rich family? Lying on the sofa, Huamin looked at the mansion, the real estate certificate, the marriage certificate, and the balance on his bank account. All of a sudden, he felt like everything was surreal. It took Qin Chu more than 30 minutes to drive from Imperial Park to the hillside mansion. When he got home, it was already past 6 in the evening, close to 7. After Qin Chu parked his car, he noticed that there were a few more cars in the parking lot. There was a Bentley, a Maserati, and a Porsche 918. It seemed like someone came to visit. Qin Chu silently took out his keys and opened the door. As expected, the living room was filled with people. Chu, you're back. Just in time, we're all waiting for you to eat. I'm not eating. After speaking, Qin Chu walked past the crowd and headed upstairs. He came back to get some things. Then, he would officially move out. However, Qin Chu's parents didn't seem to know. They called a few friends over, including 2 young girls who looked like spoiled socialites. When Qin Chu came downstairs, he had a paper bag in his hand. Inside were some of his personal belongings. Chu, let me introduce you. This is Andy Liu's daughter, Gao Meina, the daughter of the president of Fengxing Group. This is Uncle Zhao's sister, Zhao Yihuan, the daughter of the president of Shengqi Media Group. They are? Mom, I have something to do, so I'll leave first. By the way, I've been busy with work recently, so I won't be coming back to live. I bought a house for myself outside, so call me if you need anything. After saying this, Qin Chu left. Chu. Mama Qin felt awkward. She called her son a few times, but he didn't come back. Qin Yuman had not been in the city recently. He had gone on a trip to Switzerland with a few old friends. Qin Chu's mother took the opportunity to invite a few rich ladies who often had afternoon tea to the house. She even brought their daughters along. She wanted to create an opportunity for her son, but her son did not give her a chance at all. He even moved away. It was so sudden. Your son seems to be very busy, huh? A noblewoman awkwardly tried to smooth things over. Lady Qin smiled and said, "Don't mind him, huh? My son came back not long ago. As soon as he became the president of GK, he's been very busy. He rarely has dinner with us. It's okay. Young people these days are all dedicated to their work. It's good to be busy." Another noblewoman smiled. Annie Qin. Qin Chu is so handsome. I like his type. Miss Gao smiled shyly. Qin Chu is really arrogant, but I like him. The other noblewoman also looked satisfied. Lady Qin could only laugh awkwardly. MHM, I'll ask him to come back for dinner next time. The company has been very busy lately. My son has been working overtime. Qin Chu drove straight to his home at Imperial Park. When he walked in, Huamin was already asleep on the sofa. She was only wearing a short-sleeved shirt and crop pants. Her white ankles were exposed, making her look both seductive and cute. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He took off his suit jacket and covered her with it. Huamin was probably too tired, so she didn't notice at all. She didn't react until she smelled something delicious. It smelled like toast. She spent the afternoon cleaning up the rental apartment and didn't have time to cook. She must be hungry now. Huamin groggily woke up. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw the dazzling chandelier. She then realized that she was no longer in her rental apartment. This was her and Qin Chu's new home. You're awake? Qin Chu looked at her gently and asked. Chapter 68. Huamin looked up in a daze and saw Qin Chu sitting on the sofa next to him. He was wearing a coffee-colored shirt, casual pants, and a limited edition Patek Philippe diamond watch. He looked extremely luxurious. His fingers were flying across the keyboard of his laptop, and he looked like he was busy working. "Mitchum," Huamin answered in a daze. "I made something. Let's eat together." Before Huamin could respond, Qin Chu put down his laptop, got up, and went into the kitchen. Then he brought out 2 servings of toast, bacon, and 2 cups of steaming hot coffee. Huamin wanted to say that he wasn't hungry, but just as he was about to speak, his stomach grumbled. Qin Shu pushed the toast and coffee over and placed them on the coffee table. Huamin didn't want to be polite, so he picked it up and slowly ate. He didn't know if it was because he was hungry or something else, but the taste was amazing. The toast was smeared with butter and honey, and it was incredibly sweet. Huamin just happened to be a person who likes sweets. Qin Shu's gaze instantly softened as he watched Huamin quietly eat the food he made. Just then, Qin Shu's phone rang. He put down the coffee cup in his hand and slowly picked up his phone. "Hello? Son, why are you moving out all of a sudden?" Lady Qin seemed to mind a lot. "I've been busy with work lately, and I've been working overtime a lot. It's inconvenient to drive back and forth. But you don't have to move out. Where's the new house? Are there maids, drivers, and cleaners?" "Mom, I could take care of that myself." "Son, if you're not used to living here, remember to move back. I'm worried about you." "Mom, I'm an adult." "I know, but you'll always be a child in my eyes." "Chu, what do you think of the two girls I brought over tonight?" Lady Qin finally got to the point. "They're not good. Are you not satisfied with her appearance or her height? If you have any requirements, you can tell me. I will help you keep an eye out." Lady Qin persuaded her son earnestly. As Qin Shu answered the phone, he glanced at Huamin, who was drinking coffee with his head lowered. Then he said word by word, "Mom, the standard of a girl I like is 24 years old, 65 meters tall, 50 kilograms in weight, long black hair, big eyes, barefaced, white t-shirts and jeans, and 2 dimples when she smiles." When Huamin heard this, he deliberately lowered his head even more. It wasn't that she liked to think too highly of herself, but why did she feel that the person Qin Shu was talking about was her? "Wait a minute. Let me take notes. Son, I will try my best to satisfy your requests." At the other end of the phone, Lady Qin didn't know what was going on and even became serious. "Okay, that's all. Rest early." After saying that, Qin Shu hung up the phone without waiting for the other side to reply. After eating in silence, Huamin got up and carried the plates into the kitchen. When she suddenly turned around, she was caught off guard and bumped into Qin Shu. She didn't know what this man was doing in the kitchen at this time. In an instant, the two of them were so close together that Huamin became nervous again. Qin Shu supported himself against the wall with both hands and wrapped Huamin in his arms. He lowered his head and looked at the person in his arms, his eyes filled with warmth. And Huamin was suddenly pressed against the wall without any warning. "Move aside. I'll bring the rest of the utensils in to wash," Huamin said, pretending to be calm. Qin Shu stared at her face for a full 3 seconds. "You don't have to do these things." After speaking, Qin Shu moved aside and made way for Huamin. Then he walked over to the sink and picked up the utensils to wash. Huamin didn't know what to do. When Qin Shu finished washing the utensils and came out, Huamin was still sitting on the sofa. It was already 10 o'clock at night. "It's late. We should sleep." Qin Shu leaned against the kitchen door with both hands in his pockets and looked at Huamin. "I'm not sleepy yet." "You sleep first," Huamin replied awkwardly. "Ah, you seem to be afraid of sleeping with me." Qin Shu's lips curled up slightly with a mischievous smile. Chapter 69. Huamin didn't expect Qin Shu to be so direct, so she was slightly surprised at first. Then, she blushed and replied, "No. If you're not afraid, then what are you waiting for? Go to bed." After speaking, Qin Shu turned around and walked upstairs to the bedroom. When Qin Shu wasn't home that night, Huamin already had a general understanding of the structure of the house. It was a 200-square-meter duplex. Downstairs was a spacious living room, dining room, bathroom, kitchen, and a study. There seemed to be 3 bedrooms and a bathroom upstairs. With a layout like this, there was enough space for the two of them to live in, even if they had 2 more children. Seeing Qin Shu go upstairs first, Huamin really regretted her stupid mouth. Why did she answer so carelessly? Great. If she didn't go with him, it would seem like she was going back on her word. However, she really wasn't prepared to go with him. 7 years ago, she loved Qin Shu deeply, but it didn't mean that she still loved him. To be honest, she didn't even know how she felt about Qin Shu. She only married him for Jixin's safety. Of course, there was also a little bit of personal feelings mixed in. Qin Shu walked in the first bedroom on the second floor, and Huamin slowly followed behind. The room was very spacious, and the black and white decor suited Qin Shu's simple style. "Why are you following me? Do you want to sleep with me that much?" Qin Shu half-jokingly looked at Huamin. Huamin was a little confused, and she didn't know how to respond. "Your bedroom is next door. Good night." After speaking, Qin Shu slammed the door shut. He shut the innocent-looking Huamin outside the door. Huamin didn't even have time to react. Qin Shu almost couldn't help but fiercely kiss her. After Qin Shu closed the door, he slowly leaned against it. Although he really wanted to hug her to sleep, he knew that she wasn't ready yet. He didn't want to force her. He wanted to give her time. Slowly, he found all the feelings he had 7 years ago. She was already his legal wife, wasn't she? At this thought, Qin Shu's lips curled up into a satisfied smile. Only then did Huamin realize what Qin Shu had just said. He walked to the second bedroom and opened the door. The interior was beige with purple decorations. It was her favorite color. So he remembered everything, and he had prepared everything she thought he would force her, but he didn't. "Qin Shu, how do you want me to treat you?" Huamin touched the white vanity with a melancholic expression. She admitted that she didn't have that much hatred anymore. Every time she needed help, this man stood up for her. "But since you love me so much, why did you disappear for 7 years? We've already wasted 7 whole years." Huamin was melancholy for a long time. In the end, she took a hot bath in the bathroom before tiredly lying down on the bed. She had always been picky about her bed. In the past, when she went out to play and stayed in a hotel, she would lose sleep. She thought it would be the same tonight, but to her surprise, she slept well. The room was filled with the faint scent of lavender, and the colorful lights were dreamy. Every design was carefully designed. Huamin was a little suspicious. Did Qin Shu really buy this house at the last minute? Why was it so satisfying? Late at night, the moonlight shone through the window and cast a faint halo. Qin Shu gently pushed open the door, walked in, and leaned against the window. His eyes were filled with love as he looked at the person sleeping on the bed. No one knew how long he had waited for this day. No one knew how much he loved this woman named Huamin in this world. The next morning, when Huamin got up, it was only 7 o'clock, but Qin Shu was already gone. There were sandwiches and a glass of milk on the table. Huamin had to admit that she was touched before, when she lived under the same roof as Ning Ziyuan. She was the one who cooked. After a long time, she got used to it. Now that someone was making breakfast for her, the feeling was indescribably sweet. GK headquarters. When Assistant Yang walked in, he heard music playing on the president's computer. After hearing the song, Assistant Yang almost spat out his food. "President. President Qin." Assistant Yang stuttered. Chapter 70. Qin Shu raised his head from a pile of documents. He didn't say anything, but his eyes were clear, telling him to get straight to the point. "President Qin, the car is ready. The 4S store just brought it back. It's in the company's garage. You can use it any time." "Got it." Qin Shu replied with 3 words and continued to work. And the song continued to be sung over and over again. "I really want a companion when I'm lonely. Even when I'm busy, I want someone to eat breakfast with. Even though this idea is too simple, I just want someone to be with me, no matter where tomorrow is. Love doesn't allow people to be half-hearted. It's a pity to make too many mistakes. If I really decide to give my heart, can someone tell her not to make me sad? Every time love comes near, I feel that she's holding you tightly. She moves your heart, covers your eyes, and doesn't let you know where she's going. Every time love approaches, she seems to be waiting for your response. The world is quiet. The only thing that's uneasy is your decision." Yang thought it was weird because the music that came out of the president's office was often Chopin, Mozart, Richard Clayderman, and Franz Liszt. He didn't have any musical talent, so he couldn't even appreciate Beethoven's Moonlight Symphony. But the president was different. He was a genius and studied abroad for 7 years. Naturally, his taste was different. Now, he suddenly changed from these piano masters to milk tea, Lu Ruoyings, when love approaches. The difference was like heaven and earth. Most importantly, when did his president take such a new path? President Qin? Is there anything else? Qin Shu raised his head and looked at the hesitant Yang. I like this song too. My wife and I are both fans of milk tea. Yang touched his head and smiled embarrassedly. Who's milk tea? Qin Shu's words almost made Yang faint. What was wrong with his president? He didn't know who milk tea was, but he still listened to her song over and over again. How could he be such a fan? Milk tea. She's the singer of this song. Oh, Qin Shu suddenly realized. The USB drive that he plugged into his computer today was not the one that he usually listened to. Yesterday, when the movers were helping Hua Min check out, they tidied it up. It was said that they found it at Hua Min's bedside. Qin Shu felt that these might be Hua Min's favorite songs, so he listened to them all morning. No wonder Yang thought it was weird. After Hua Min finished his breakfast, he went to work. In the VIP room, Jing Jixin had already woken up. Although his mental state was still very weak, the doctor said that all his indicators were in good condition. He just needed to rest. Hua Min stayed with Jing Jixin for a while. When her brother finally fell asleep, she slowly walked out of the room. The moment she stepped out of the ward, her phone rang urgently. Hua Min glanced at it. It was an unknown number. Hello. Miss Hua Min, I'm Lawyer Luo. What do you want? After hearing the other party's identity, Hua Min's reaction became noticeably colder. I want to remind Miss Hua to think about our proposal carefully. I've made myself very clear. I don't want to repeat myself. If Miss Hua is so unreasonable, then we can't guarantee your safety and that of your family. Are you threatening me? Miss Hua, you're a smart person. I don't need to say more. Do you believe that my phone has a recording device? I'll hand it over to the court. It'll be evidence against you. Hua Min was extremely angry. Ha, do you think I'm scared? Miss Hua, you should be careful. I told you that my client's family is very powerful. An ordinary person like you can't control them. Just because I'm ordinary, I should be bullied? What a joke. Go to hell. After speaking, Hua Min mercilessly hung up the phone. Senior Sister Hua, someone's looking for you. Okay, coming. When she heard someone calling for her, Hua Min immediately walked towards the OB-GYN department. At the door of the OB-GYN department, when Hua Min saw who it was, she was clearly unhappy. It's you? Chapter 71. Hi, little sister Mian. I haven't seen you in a few days, and you've gotten prettier. Hua Xiqian was wearing a dark purple suit and black trousers. He was dressed in luxurious designer clothes. Unlike Qin Shu, he was more flamboyant when it came to dressing up. He liked bright colors, such as red and deep purple. Hua Xiqian was 29 years old this year. He was good-looking and looked like a gentleman. Plus, he was the vice president of the Hua Corporation, which made him very popular in the upper-class circle. It was said that he was also a master at picking up girls. His female companions ranged from celebrities in the entertainment circle to international young models to young ladies from prestigious families. He could not be counted with two hands. He was often seen in entertainment magazines, but the society had a very high opinion of him. He was said to be the future head of the Hua Corporation. This adopted son status was obviously higher than the siblings from Hua Xiqian's second family. Hua Xiqian had a pair of peach blossom eyes and a fox-like smile wherever he went, so he was very popular with girls. A few nurses in the OB-GYN department were fascinated by him and secretly glanced at him. How many times do I have to tell you not to call me that? I'm not your sister. Hua Min was unusually cold. Okay, Hua Min, I have a favor to ask of you today. One of my female companions wants to do a gynecological examination, but it's too difficult to get an appointment with a specialist in your hospital. I remembered that you work in the OB-GYN department, so can you help us out and make an appointment with a specialist? No way. I'm just an intern nurse. I don't have that much power. Young Master Hua, you're so powerful. Why don't you just ask the director? After speaking, Hua Min turned around and walked into the OB-GYN department, ignoring him. However, Hua Xiqian didn't seem angry. He only smiled. As the vice president of the Hua Corporation, he purposely went through the green channel when he came to the hospital. Why would he need to look for a nobody like Hua Min? However, he especially liked interacting with Huamin. Seeing her made him feel inexplicably better, just like when he was young. At this moment, an exquisite-looking woman walked out of the gynecology and obstetrics professor's clinic and intimately held Huasiqian's arm. Xiqian, the professor said that I've caught a cold recently and doesn't want me to eat seafood anymore. It seems like we'll have to go to the beach less in the future. It's okay. I'll warm you up when we get back. You're so annoying. Huh, you're always teasing me, the woman said coquettishly. Then, the two of them turned around and left. Senior Sister Hua, who was that person just now? He looks good, and he's wearing big brands. I can tell at a glance that he's from a rich family. The young nurse, Huang Yu, asked with interest. A friend of a friend of a friend. I'm not familiar with them. Huamin had never been willing to talk too much about the Hua family. Huang Yu, are you stupid? Don't you read the newspapers? Wasn't that young Master Hua? No wonder he's one of the 4 princes of Sea City. He's really good-looking and rich. He looks much better in real life than in the photos. It's just that he's a bit of a playboy, another nurse said. 4th young master? We've never heard of them. Huang Yu looked confused. That's why I said you're from the countryside. The 4 princes are all eligible bachelors of the upper class. I heard that they're all unmarried. Huasiqian is ranked 2nd. I heard that the 3rd is the 2nd son of the Wei family in Nansheng, Wei Liao. The 4th is Shun Mingxi, the son of the CEO of Beiyang Automobile Company. Who's the 1st? Huang Yu was even more curious. The 1st? He's amazing. He's also the man of my dreams. He's the most handsome and rich in the city. I heard that he's the super rich young master, Su Yu, who spends money like water. Su Yu? I think I've heard of him before. Isn't his father the top 5 on the Forbes list? I heard that his family's banks are all over the country. Huang Yu said with great interest. Yes, but young Master Su is now in charge of his own film company. He specializes in creating stars. 2 of the 4 most popular actresses in the entertainment industry were made famous by young Master Su. Huamin listened quietly and didn't interrupt because she wasn't interested in these things at all. Just then, an older nurse came in and looked at them with disdain. What 4th young master? They're all behind times. The most popular upstart right now is GK's young master. I heard that he's been back for almost a month and has secretly inherited the throne. However, he's been very low-key and doesn't accept any media interviews. I heard that he's super handsome. I really want to meet him. Really? GK's young master? How come I've never heard of him? Another young nurse asked with a pout. Huang Yu, on the other hand, interrupted excitedly. I know that GK's young master went to 2nd high school. My sister is studying there, right after him. I also know that his name is Qin Shu, but I heard that he went abroad for many years. Is he back? How come I haven't heard anything about him? Then, Huang Yu tugged at Huamin and asked, Senior Sister Hua, aren't you also from 2nd high? You should know more about him, right? Hurry up and tell us about GK's young master. I'm really interested. My sister once said that Qin Shu is super handsome. Chapter 72. Huamin didn't know how to answer the question. I don't know him that well. He didn't want to be too high profile, so he gave a vague answer. Upon hearing Huamin's words, the other 3 nurses looked slightly disappointed. Since the OB-GYN department wasn't busy, Huamin got up and went to visit his brother in the VIP room. However, he ran into the family of the patient from the other day at the door. It was the mother of the boy from the car accident. She was a plump, middle-aged woman, and her red dress was particularly eye-catching. Hey, wait a second. What's up? Huamin turned his head. I heard that you didn't want to settle it in private, right? Yes. Is it because they didn't give you enough? How much did they give you? The middle-aged woman's eyes lit up, as if she wanted to get some information from Huamin. However, Huamin was an idiot. No, I didn't ask for compensation. You didn't ask for compensation? Why not? You didn't come to an agreement, right? I'm telling you, take the opportunity to ask for more. I heard that your brother hurt his head. You can exaggerate and say that there will be sequelae, that he will become stupid, and that he won't be able to take care of himself. That way, they will give you more. Then, The middle-aged woman deliberately lowered her voice and said, "Did you know? I heard that the kids' parents are from the finance department. Not only are they rich, but they also have power. I'll go through the normal legal process and sue them. I don't want any compensation. I'll make the perpetrator take responsibility." Huamian didn't want to say anything else and turned to walk back into the hospital room. The middle-aged woman was stunned at first, then she rolled her eyes and cursed. Is this girl's brain rusty? Inside the room, after Jing Jixin woke up, other than his complexion being a bit pale, everything else was fine. Huamin found a caregiver to take turns with his mother. He would also come over often. "You look better today than yesterday." Huamin walked in with a smile. "Sis." Jing Jixin smiled warmly when he saw Huamin. "Aren't you on duty? What are you doing here?" His mother was still as cold as ever. "The obstetrics and gynecology department isn't very busy today, so I took the opportunity to take a look." "Jixin, are you feeling unwell today?" Huamin reached out and touched his brother's forehead. Jing Jixin shook his head. "No, I'm fine. Don't worry, sis. What about the compensation? I heard that those people contacted you?" Yang Meiyerong asked as she knitted. Huamin paused for a moment before slowly replying, "Mom, I'm giving up on the compensation. We have enough money for the surgery, and Jixin's surgery was a success, so I'm not asking for compensation. I want to go through the legal process and sue the perpetrator so that he could get away with it. Otherwise, he'll think that he took the money and got away with it, and my brother almost lost his life. I don't feel good thinking about that." She thought that her mother would scold her to death. After all, it was a large sum of compensation. But surprisingly, she didn't. Her mother just looked at her faintly and asked, "Didn't you say that the other party has a strong background? If we lose the lawsuit, then wouldn't we lose more than we gain?" "No, we won't lose. The other party was speeding on campus and was driving under the influence, causing such a serious accident. It's a big mistake in itself. If we lose, unless the judge is blind, then even if their family has power and wants to suppress this, I can still find the media, post on Weibo, or post on forums. Either way, once this incident gets noticed, they won't just sit back and watch. I believe that no matter how powerful the other party is, they won't be able to hide the truth from everyone." After Huamin finished speaking, Jing Jixin smiled cutely, showing his cute canine teeth. "Sis, you're so smart. You even thought of this." Yang Meiyerong, on the other hand, rolled her eyes at Huamin and said, "Since you've decided to do this, then do it properly. But how are you going to pay back the money you borrowed? If you don't compensate us, then wouldn't it be a loss for us? With your lousy salary, how long will it take for you to pay back the money? You really know how to mess things up. Let me tell you, I won't help you pay back a single cent. You know our family situation. We're very poor. Unless you borrow from your dead father, but that's impossible. You should know how much he dislikes you." Chapter 73. Mom, you might not know about the law, but if we go through the normal procedure, they will still have to compensate us if they lose the case. It's just that they won't give us as much as they would if we settled the case privately. Normally, they will still have to pay for Jixin's medical bills. We just don't want to pay for the so-called nutrition and psychological damages. We won't ask for too much money. I don't want to make a fortune with my brother's health. If we win the case, they will still give us the most basic things, so we don't have to worry about the money. Sis, you're making it sound so complicated. How can Mom understand? Why don't you just say that if we settle the case privately, they might pay 1,000,000 yuan or so. However, if we go through the normal procedure, after the court sanctions them, they will only pay 300,000 yuan for Jixin's medical bills. There's a big difference in the middle, right? Jing Jixin said. Huami nodded. Yang Meiyerong didn't say anything. She only lowered her head and said in a low voice, "I hope everything goes well." Huamin could tell that although his mother didn't look happy, she agreed with him. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Huamin was extremely nervous. He was really afraid that Qin Shu would suddenly come to the hospital. If his mother saw Qin Shu, the atmosphere would be very tense. Huamian let out a sigh of relief when she saw the person walking in. It was Ning Xian. Li Yuan, Jing Jixin said slightly. Ning Xian was wearing a white lab coat. He probably came from the on-call room as well. He held a fruit basket in his hand. He first looked at Huamin with a complicated expression. Then, he greeted Huamin's mother. Annie, what are you doing here? Didn't you guys break up? Yang Meiyerong said with a straight face. I'm here to see Jixin. He's recovering well. Get well soon. Ning Ziyuan said to Jing Jixin as he put down the fruit basket. Thank you, Ziyuan. Jing Jixin smiled. Mian. He looked at Huamin and opened his mouth slightly, as if he wanted to say something but stopped. MHM, can you come out for a second? I have something to tell you. If you have anything to say, say it here. My mother and brother are not outsiders. Ever since the day Huamin went to Ning Ziyuan's new house and saw him in bed with another woman, and then righteously refused to lend him money, his good impression of him had completely disappeared. In the past, she would even be grateful to him for pursuing her for a few years. Only now did she realize that a man could be so heartless when he turned hostile. If Ning Ziyuan had been willing to help her, she wouldn't have needed to beg Qin Shu. In the end, she still had to get married to Qin Shu. At the end of the day, Ning Ziyuan had become an important catalyst for this incident to develop to such an extent. At this point, Huamin felt that there was nothing more to say between the two of them. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Ning Ziyuan felt a little awkward. Then he coughed lightly and said, Mian, I didn't expect this to happen so suddenly. At the time, I was blinded by jealousy. We've been together for more than 3 years. You should know how I feel about you. It's not that I don't want to help you, but I heard that you borrowed money for Jixin's surgery. I'm willing to help you pay it back. I can sell my house and car. Your family is my family, and Jixin is my brother. Can the two of us go back to... Before Ning Ziyuan could finish, Huamin decisively interrupted him. No, Mian, are you really not going to give me a chance? Ning Ziyuan begged. Huamian raised her head and looked into Ning Ziyuan's eyes as she asked, enunciating each word clearly. All I know is that when I was at my wit's end and had to beg you for help, when my brother was lying on the hospital bed and needed money to save his life, you were having an affair with another woman in the house that we share the down payment for. Ning Ziyuan, I'm not a bun, and you're not a dog. Stop bothering me about what happened between you and me. I don't blame you for not helping me, but I really think it's a bit ridiculous that you're doing this with hindsight. Ning Ziyuan was so embarrassed by Huamian's words that he wanted to crawl into a hole and hide. At the same time, he was shocked. In his eyes, Huamin was always a gentle girl. How come she was so sharp-tongued now? Every word she said was like a knife, leaving him speechless. Mian, you seem to have changed. Ning Ziyuan hesitated for a long time before saying. Huamin smiled faintly upon hearing this. Chapter 74. You're wrong. It's not that I've changed. I've always been like this. That's why you don't understand me at all these years. You only love the person you think I am, not the real me. The truth was, Huamin had wanted to say this for a long time. When she met Ning Ziyuan, she had already pretended to be an ordinary woman. After experiencing her unforgettable love with Qin Shu, her heart was as calm as the ocean. Therefore, the gentle, sensible, obedient, considerate, and even a little cowardly woman Ning Ziyuan saw wasn't the real Huamin at all. Humans were the smartest animals in the world. Sometimes, what you see is only what they want you to see. It's not who they really are. Only Qin Shu knew Huamin's true nature. She was witty, smart, sharp-tongued, and looked down on everything. Just like how Zhu Lingling described her, she was arrogant. That was the real her. Unfortunately, Ning Ziyuan hadn't seen her in the past few years. Now that they had broken up, he finally had the chance to see her. It was ironic, Mian. Ning Ziyuan seemed like he wanted to say something else. Enough. Don't say any more. I got the gist of it. When my daughter begged you, you were fooling around with another woman in the house, weren't you? Now that you heard that my Jixin is fine and that the surgery fees were paid, you came back to repent. You really are not a man. Before, I thought that you weren't that capable, but at least you were honest. Now, it seems like that's not the case at all. Not only are you dishonest, but you also like to give advice after the fact. Stop nagging. I'm annoyed by it. Get out. Since we broke up, I'm no longer your aunt, and Jixin is no longer your brother. Auntie, get out. Take your insincere fruit basket with you. After speaking, Yang Meirong got up, picked up the fruit basket, and pushed Ning Ziyuan and the basket out. Mom, well done. You really helped sis vent her anger. Jing Jixin gave her a thumbs up. Yang Meirong glanced coldly at Huamin. Next time you're looking for a man, you better open your eyes. What kind of trash is this? Got it, Mom. Then I'll go back to the OB-GYN department first. Don't be too tired. When a nurse comes to work, you should go home and rest. When Huamin walked out of the room, he felt a little uneasy. Although her mother didn't treat her well, her attitude towards Ning Ziyuan just now was obviously to protect her. However, if her mother knew that she was not only dating Qin Shu in private, but also married to him, she would be devastated. She would definitely want to skin her alive if she did that. Although Uncle Jing's death wasn't directly related to Qin Shu, it was still the Qin family's doing. At the thought of this, Huamin felt her chest tighten. She really didn't know how to get along with Qin Shu in the future. Because of Uncle Jing's death, she carried the guilt for 7 years. She gave up on the universities abroad and the top medical school in Jing City. She stayed in the city and became the most ordinary person. However, she still couldn't make up for the guilt in her heart. The worst thing was, she realized that she didn't hate Qin Shu as much as she did. She knew that what she did was wrong to Uncle Jing. 9 p.m. Huamin was on shift for her colleague. After tiredly changing into her clothes, she walked out of the hospital. She lowered her head and took out her phone. Her phone ran out of battery in the afternoon and automatically shut down. Then, she charged it. As soon as she turned it on, she saw that there were a lot of missed calls. There was also a text message. What time do you get off work? I thought you weren't on shift today. Why aren't you back yet? It was from Qin Shu. Huamin yawned and was about to reply to the message. Just as she was about to reply, she heard the screeching sound of tires coming her way. She looked up, but her eyes were blinded by the light. All she knew was that a huge car was coming towards her at alarming speed. Huamin. In the midst of the chaos, someone shouted her name. Chapter 75. Huamin didn't have time to react, so she just stood there motionless. She covered her eyes with both hands to protect herself from glare. However, she neglected the fact that she was standing in the most dangerous position. If the car came over, wouldn't it crush her? After hearing someone call her name, Huamin didn't have time to respond before she felt her body being hit by something. Her ribs were in pain. When she opened her eyes again, she found herself lying in a soft embrace. Qin Shu, why are you here? Huamin was still in shock and was a little dumbfounded. Why was he here at a time like this? Qin Shu was hugging Huamin tightly. The two of them were lying next to a telephone pole on the side of the road. Their posture was extremely intimate. Are you okay? Qin Shu's voice was a little hoarse. God knew that at that moment, his heart was about to jump out of his chest. I'm fine, Huamin stuttered. Then, she slowly got up and checked her wound. She found that other than her ribs being hit by an unknown object like Qin Shu, there was no other problem. When she turned around to look at Qin Shu, she was a little shocked. Your hand is injured. It's okay, it's just a scratch. No, I have to bandage it for you. Otherwise, it would get infected. With that, Huamin pulled Qin Shu to the hospital. There's a first aid kit at home. You can bandage it for me. With that, before Huamin could say anything, Qin Shu held her hand tightly and said, "It's late. Let's go home." Then, he held Huamin's hand and walked to the front of the low-key, white Volkswagen CC. The two of them got in the car. In the front passenger seat, Huamin hesitated for a long time before she asked, "Just now, why were you there?" "I thought you were going to ask why the car suddenly sped up in front of the hospital." Qin Shu replied with a question. "Answer me first. I couldn't get through to you on the phone, and you didn't reply to my messages. I came to the hospital to wait for you after work. What time did you come?" Huamin looked at Qin Shu in surprise. 6 o'clock. So you waited from 6 o'clock until 9 o'clock? Huamin couldn't believe it. That's right. You just want to wait in the car. Yes. Are you really? Huamin didn't know what to say. Obviously, Qin Shu wasn't an idiot. Fortunately, I came. Otherwise, you would have been hit just now. Huamin finally understood. Shu had been in the car the whole time when he picked her up from work. When he saw her walking out of the hospital, he got out of the car to call her. However, at that moment, a huge truck that came out of nowhere suddenly rushed out. At that critical moment, Chu rushed over and hugged Huamin. They dodged the truck and both fell to the side of the road. Thinking back to that moment, it really was a matter of life and death. Do you know that you almost died? Huamin stared at Chu and asked. I only know that if I didn't do what I did, you would have died. Chu responded faintly. Was it worth it? Huamin's eyes began to sting. When he asked this question, he purposely turned his head and looked out the window. It was very worth it. You're such an idiot. You're the heir of GK, and you're worth over 10 billion yuan. How could you save an intern nurse? Huamin mocked himself. Chu turned his head and stared at Huamin's face. He said word for word. In that moment, it was just a husband saving his wife. Don't overthink it. Chu. Yeah? Don't you think that us being together was a mistake from the beginning? Huamin said softly. Upon hearing this, Chu's hands on the steering wheel froze slightly. Chapter 76. After a while, Chu slowly replied, All I know is that being apart from you for 7 years was the biggest mistake of my life. Hearing this, Huamin's heart skipped a beat, as if something had shattered in her heart. He wondered if that was her last line of defense against the outside world. Then, the two of them didn't speak for the rest of the journey. When they arrived at Imperial Park, it was only 9:20 p.m. Huamin followed Chu's instructions and found the first aid kit in the living room cabinet. Then, the two of them sat on the sofa, and Huamin carefully treated Chu's wounds. Not only did Chu's palms get scratched, but his knees were also scraped. Blood seeped out, staining his expensive casual pants. Wrap it up, don't let it get wet for a few days. Be careful when you shower, Huamin reminded him. Okay. Also, take off your pants. I'll wash them for you. It's okay. I'll just take these to the dry cleaners. Okay, then you should rest early. I'm a bit tired. I'm going to rest now. After speaking, Huamin was about to head upstairs. Mian, I'm a bit hungry. Chu's words made Huamin stop in her tracks. What do you want to eat? Anything is fine. Chu looked in her eyes. Huamin didn't want to look into Chu's eyes, so she turned around and walked towards the fridge. She opened the fridge and saw that it was filled with vegetables and fruits. It seemed like he prepared everything beforehand. Huamin took out egg noodles and a bunch of vegetables, then walked towards the kitchen. 20 minutes later, a bowl of piping hot egg noodles with vegetables was placed on the coffee table. Eat it while it's hot. You're not eating? I already ate when I was on duty. I'm not hungry. Then, Huamin turned around and went upstairs. Chu sat on the sofa, picked up the chopsticks, and ate the noodles in small bites. An image seemed to appear in his mind. Chu, the noodles in this restaurant are not delicious. How dare they sell such disgusting noodles for 15 renminbi a bowl? They are crazy. I will cook for you personally in the future. My noodles are very delicious. Really? If we lose our jobs in the future, you could support me by opening a noodle shop. Do you think I would want a man who lives off a woman as my husband? As long as I'm your husband, I don't mind living off you. 7 years ago, there were many beautiful memories. The street behind the school was filled with snacks. Chu loved to eat noodles, so Huamin often went there with him. They went to many places, but there wasn't anything delicious. Thus, the conversation above occurred. At that time, Chu thought that since he was with Huamin every day, he would have many opportunities to eat her noodles. But he never thought that he would wait for this opportunity for 7 years. Time was really a ruthless thing. Many beautiful things could only be supported by memories in the end. Although he risked his life to save her tonight, she was still a little distant from him. He knew what she was thinking. He saw the conflict, anxiety, guilt, and fear in her heart. But as long as he could be with her, he didn't care about anything else. As long as she was with him, his wish was that simple. With that thought, Chu began to eat the noodles in big mouthfuls. In the end, he drank all the soup. He didn't remember the taste of the noodles, but he knew that it was the best noodles in the world, all because it was cooked by Huamin in the upstairs bedroom. Huamin lay on the bed, exhausted. It wasn't that she didn't know that Qin Chu got hurt because of her. She wasn't heartless, but whenever she thought of her mother's words, she would feel extremely conflicted. Ring. She received a WeChat message. Huamin slowly picked up her phone. As expected, it was Zhu Lingling calling. Recently, she had been flying to the East Coast and hadn't returned to Sea City. Without her harassment on WeChat, Huamin really wasn't used to it. Mian, I'm back. Come out and have a drink. I've been dog-tired these past few days. Huamin smiled slightly and replied, Who said so? Dogs aren't as tired as you are. Zhu Lingling was speechless. Then, Huamin sent Zhu Lingling a WeChat message. There were only 6 words on it. Lingling, I'm married. After seeing these 6 words, Zhu Lingling jumped out of bed in shock. Chapter 77. Are you kidding me? Sis. No, I'm telling the truth. Who are you married to? Wei Dong, Ning Ziyuan? Zhu Lingling never would have thought that Huamin would marry Qin Chu. None of them. Then who is it? Sis, you didn't get married on a whim, did you? Isn't Ji Xin still in the hospital? How can you be in a mood to get married? Have you been under a lot of pressure recently? Have you lost your mind? Don't be afraid. The psychiatrist said that anything you do when you're not sober is invalid. It's just like how it's not illegal to kill someone when they're mentally ill. No matter who you marry impulsively, as long as you do a psychiatric evaluation tomorrow, you can get a divorce. Lingling, I'm not impulsive, and I didn't make this decision while I'm crazy. I'm very sober. Sis, don't scare me. I haven't been back for a few days, and you've already given me such explosive news. Qin Chu and I got married. Who? Qin Chu. Which Qin Chu? Don't tell me it's the almighty from our class. Who else could it be? Oh my God, let me calm down. I can't digest this. You got married to Qin Chu? Is this a prank? No. April Fool's Day is over. Don't lie to me, is this real? Obviously, Zhu Lingling had serious doubts about the authenticity of the news. It's real, I swear. That's great, girl. Congratulations on finally getting together with the person you love. Although Zhu Lingling was usually crazy, she knew Huamin the best. Other than Qin Chu, there was no one else in Huamin's heart. Ning Ziyuan was just a temporary choice she made to avoid her feelings. Zhu Lingling used to think that Ning Ziyuan wasn't good enough for Huamin, and she was right. After going around in circles, Huamin ended up with Qin Chu. The story seemed to have returned to 7 years ago. She was truly happy for her, because she knew how much Huamin loved Qin Chu, but she never said it out loud. Lingling, don't give me your blessings. I had no choice but to marry him. Then, Huamin told Zhu Lingling everything. After hearing the news, Zhu Lingling gradually calmed down. Mian, what do you plan to do now? Your mom will find out sooner or later, and so will Qin Chu's parents. You won't be able to hide it for long. Once you're pregnant and have a child, the paparazzi will follow you. Qin Chu isn't an ordinary person. He's the heir of GK. People like him won't be able to hide his marriage. People will find out sooner or later. How do you plan to deal with it then? Huamin thought for a moment and replied, Lingling, to be honest, I don't want to live with Qin Chu like this. We shouldn't have been together in the first place, so I think I'll ask for a divorce after a while. Divorce? Are you crazy? Why do you want a divorce? I really don't understand. You love him, and he loves you. Why can't you be together? Lingling, there are too many things between us. We can't go back to the way we were before. I don't know why Qin Chu wants me to marry him. I think it's because I dumped him 7 years ago, and he's not happy about it. Aren't all men like this? They always want what they can't get. I think he won't be like this when he gets tired of me. I don't think Qin Chu is that kind of person. Mian, there's something you might not know. During the class reunion, Qin Chu personally invited Mr. Yao from New Zealand. Mr. Yao was the one who called you. You can see how much he wants to see you. So what? Too many things have happened in the past 7 years. Plus, Uncle Jing can't come back to life. I don't want to hurt my mom even more. Anyways, I will end our relationship before our relationship is exposed. Huamin. Zhu Lingling felt that Huamin was under too much pressure. They had only been married for a few days, but she was already thinking about a divorce. If Qin knew what she was thinking, he would be very sad. Qin guessed right. She was going to burn the bridge after crossing it. Huomin knew that it was unfair to Qin when they got married. But how could there be fairness in this world? After chatting with Zhu Lingling on WeChat for a while, Huomin felt a little sleepy and fell into a deep sleep. Midnight, Qin quietly walked in and tucked Huomin in. Then, he stood by the bed and looked at the sleeping Huomin. His gaze was extremely gentle. He really wanted to lower his head and kiss her, but he was afraid that if she woke up, it would be even more awkward. After quietly watching for a while, Qin quietly left Huomin's room. His gaze turned cold as he took out his phone and made a call. Gaoran, find me a blue truck with license plate number HC 9649. It appeared on the road in front of the first hospital at 9 p.m. Pull up the nearby surveillance cameras and find out the owner of the truck and where it went. Using his super memory, he called Gaoran. He really wanted to know who had the guts to try to kill his baby. Chapter 78. Bro, what are you doing in the middle of the night? Gaoran was still half asleep on the other end of the line. That's all. I want the information tomorrow morning. After speaking, Qin didn't wait for Gaoran to reply and hung up the phone. The next morning, when Huomin woke up, to her surprise, Qin was still there. She remembered that he left before 7 a.m. every day. When the two of them met in the morning, it was a bit awkward, especially when Huomin hadn't washed her face yet and her hair was still messy. You're not at work yet? Yeah, I don't have much to do today. Qin was reading the financial newspaper as he sat at the dining table. On the dining table were two sets of breakfast, Western breakfast again. To be honest, Huomin was already a bit sick of eating breakfast. However, if he didn't eat the breakfast that Huomin made out of kindness, it would be too pretentious of him. You seem to like Western breakfasts? Huomin asked, unsure of what to say. Qin put down the newspaper, glanced at her, and replied, because I don't know how to make Chinese breakfast. Huomin was completely speechless. No wonder he had Western breakfast every day and spaghetti and steak for supper. It turned out that he didn't know how to make Chinese breakfast. Ahem, then I'll do it from now on. No, I'll get a maid to do it. Trust me, it's not bad, Huomin explained. I didn't marry you to make breakfast. My wife doesn't need to do anything. She just needs to do what she likes. Huomin really wanted to say, Qin, if you spoil me like this, I'll become arrogant. However, it wasn't appropriate for her to say these words. After all, things are still a bit weird between them. Are your injuries better? Yeah. Remember not to touch water. Yeah. Qin nodded. I'm done eating. I'm going to wash up and go to work. I'll drive you. Huomin dawdled for 20 minutes. When she came out, Qin was still waiting for her. She drove Huomin to the hospital in her low-key Volkswagen CC. Then, she drove straight to GK headquarters. It was rush hour, and many employees saw their boss driving the Volkswagen CC. At first, some people thought that it was Assistant Yang's car, but they were all dumbfounded when they saw the boss get out of the car. Thus, some people began to whisper, what kind of path is the CEO taking? If I'm not mistaken, that's a Volkswagen CC, right? It's not a luxury car, right? Another person replied softly, I'm guessing that the CEO is going to work with Volkswagen soon. Is our company going to build cars again? Not necessarily. Maybe the president is tired of driving luxury cars and wants to try something new. I think that's the case. Or perhaps the president wants to give this car to a certain department as a bonus. The employees were all talking at once, but Qin was still doing things his own way. GK's office of the president. Qin was reviewing documents when Gao Ran called him. Did you find anything? He asked. Of course, I'm the captain of the criminal police force. Do you think I'm a freeloader? I found it. I didn't know until I did, but when I did, I was shocked. Yesterday, this car almost hit someone in front of the hospital. I took a closer look and saw that it was you and Huomin, right? Gao Ran asked nosily. Get to the point. What's the background of the car? Whose car is it? The owner of the car is Wu Shikai, the owner of Hongtai Logistics in our city. However, he's not here. The driver last night is an employee of his company, Wang Li. He's 32 years old, from our city, unmarried, and an alcoholic. He has a criminal record of theft and has a bad personality. I don't know why he appeared in front of the hospital last night, but he probably got drunk, Gao Ran analyzed. That's impossible. He wasn't drunk. It was premeditated. He wanted to kill Huamin. Kill Huamin? Why? Gao Ran was shocked. Who could a girl like Huamin possibly have a grudge against? Why would someone want to kill her? Leave the rest to me. That's all. After speaking, Qin Chu hung up the phone. President Qin, the morning meeting is in 10 minutes, Assistant Yang reminded him. Cancel the morning meeting. I have something important to do. I won't see anyone in the morning, and I won't approve any documents. Yes, President Qin. Yang already knew the president's temperament, so he didn't dare to delay and left with instructions. Qin Chu picked up his phone, hesitated for a moment, and then dialed a number. Rick, I need your help. Come to GK headquarters in an hour. After hanging up, Qin Chu stood up and walked to the floor-to-ceiling window. As he looked out at the heavy traffic outside, his eyes turned slightly cold. Someone dared to harm his Huamin. That person must be tired of living. Chapter 79. Qin Chu gave Rick an hour, but it only took Rick 20 minutes. A fiery red Ferrari stopped in front of GK, and a tall man in a black leather jacket got out of the car. His appearance caused a commotion in GK. Since he was of mixed Chinese and French descent, his handsome face attracted a lot of attention. Inside the president's office, "Hey, Qin Chu, long time no see. Sit." Qin Chu got up and walked to the wine cabinet in his office. He poured 2 glasses of red wine and handed one to Rick. You must have something important to tell me, right? What is it? Rick swirled his empty glass and smiled. He had known Qin Chu for many years. They didn't talk often, but they were good friends. The truth was, men didn't have the same friendship as women. They didn't go out for tea or shopping every other day. However, when they really needed each other, they would show up. Rick's mother was a French aristocrat, and his father was a local entrepreneur. Of course, he was only an entrepreneur on the surface. His family owned a 5-star hotel chain and the city's most luxurious nightclub, Seductive Fox. Rick's family's real business was the underworld, but it was a high-level underworld that had been cleaned up. Qin Chu sat down across from Rick. He looked down at the red wine in his glass and slowly said, Wang Li male, 32 years old, employee of Hongtai Logistics. Get rid of him? Rick made a throat-slitting gesture. Qin Chu shook his head. Last night, he drove a truck and deliberately hit people in front of the city hospital. Someone must have ordered him to do that. I need you to help me find out who it is. What happens after you find them? Kill them all? No. Sometimes being alive is scarier than being dead. Let them reap what they sow. Anyways, I don't want to leave any loose ends behind. Qin Chu was worried about Huamin's safety, so after much thought, he decided to ask Rick to take care of him. Got it, leave it to me. Thank you. Qin Chu nodded in gratitude at Rick's loyalty. What are you thanking me for? It's all thanks to you that my brother's incident in America last time. Anyway, no matter when, just ask me. Rick finished the red wine in his glass in one gulp, stood up and patted Qin Chu's shoulder. Yes. By the way, how did this person offend you? Why are you asking me personally, huh? Rick was very puzzled. This kind of small punishment could be solved by Qin Chu in minutes. Why did he need to use him, a violent gangster? Because they almost hurt the person I care about the most, Qin Chu said word by word. The person you care about the most? Oh, I see. Looks like you're already with her. Congratulations. Rick smiled and turned to leave. For his friends who had known Qin Chu for many years, they all knew that Qin Chu only cared about one woman in his life. First hospital during his lunch break. Huamin was drinking water in the lounge when he recalled the frightening scene from yesterday. If Qin Chu hadn't hugged him in time and dodged, he would have been a corpse by now. The big truck was very fast and ferocious. Moreover, there was a speed bump in front of the hospital, indicating that it was not allowed to speed up. However, that person was still driving so fast. Was it as simple as being drunk? If it was in the past, Huamin wouldn't have thought too much about it. However, recently, Lawyer Luo came looking for him and didn't talk about that matter. Huamin still had lingering fears about this incident. Lawyer Luo's warning was very clear. She didn't listen, but that didn't mean that they didn't dare to do it. It seemed like the perpetrator had already started to make a move. Huamin clenched his fists tightly. He thought to himself, this society is so unfair. Those people were the ones who hit people first. Not only did they not accept punishment, but they also blatantly threatened the victim's family. If he had been hit and killed yesterday, the traffic police would have treated it as a traffic accident. They would have paid a few 100,000 yuan and let it go. Thinking of this, Huamin felt a slight chill down his spine. At this moment, his phone rang. "Where are you?" Qin Shu's magnetic voice came from the other end of the phone. Chapter 80. At the hospital. I'm at the entrance of the hospital. Can you come out for a second? What's up? Huamin was a little distant. She was actually very conflicted. She really didn't want to get too close to Qin Shu, but they cooked together every day, so she couldn't break away from him. Something's up, he said in all seriousness. Huamin looked at her watch. There were still 20 minutes before work, so she still had time. She got up and walked towards the door. As soon as Huamin walked out, she saw his ordinary Volkswagen sedan. Qin Shu was leaning against the car. Huamin hesitated for a moment, then slowly walked over. Qin Shu handed over the reusable bag in his hand. "Here, what's this?" Huamin asked curiously. "Afternoon tea." "Thank you." Huamin took the bag and nodded her head in thanks. "What do you want from me? Tell me, I'm almost at work." Huamin looked at Qin Shu, wondering why he was at the entrance of the hospital in the middle of the day. "I just want to bring you afternoon tea." Huamin was completely speechless. Was this even a matter? He made it sound so serious that she thought it was something important. Actually, she didn't know that in Qin Shu's eyes, everything about Huamin was important to him. "Okay, if there's nothing else, I'm leaving." "Wait," Qin Shu shouted. Huamin turned around. Qin Shu reached out and tucked the hair on her forehead behind her ear. His movements were extremely gentle. Huamin's cheeks instantly turned red. She looked like a little girl who was experiencing her first awakening of love. "Okay, go ahead. I can't pick you up after work today because I have something to do at the company. I'll be back later, but I'll send someone to pick you up. I'll call you then." "No need. I'll take the bus myself. It's so close to home." However, no matter what Huamin said, Qin Shu acted as if he didn't hear anything. He turned around and got into the car. Huamin sighed slightly and returned to the hospital with the bag. Inside the lounge, she slowly opened the bag. Inside was a box of pink macarons, a box of puffs, a cup of hot coffee, and a box of 4 fruits: honeydew, watermelon, strawberries, and grapes. The packaging was exquisite, and the ingredients were very fresh. "Wow, isn't this 37 degrees pastry? It's super expensive." It said that a cup of coffee costs more than 300 yuan. "Senior sister, you're so extravagant. Tell me, did you buy a lottery ticket for 5 million yuan? Huan Yu came over and exclaimed when she saw the brand on the package. "No, someone gave it to me. Why would I buy something so extravagant?" 37 degrees. Homie knew about it. It was the largest coffee shop in the area, and it was a place that specialized in afternoon tea. Most of the time, only socialites and rich women went there because ordinary people couldn't afford it. A cup of coffee cost more than 300 yuan, and apparently, even an ice cream cost more than 500 yuan. The prices were shockingly high. She estimated that the things Qin Chu bought cost at least 1,000 yuan. 1,000 yuan was almost equivalent to her monthly living expenses. Now, Qin Chu actually bought her 1,000 yuan afternoon tea. Huamin felt a faint pain in her heart. Perhaps she was used to being poor all these years, so she really couldn't bear to spend money like this. "Someone gave it to you? You're probably a suitor." "Haha. Tell me, who gave it to you?" Huang Yu smiled mysteriously. "No, my best friend gave it to me. That flight attendant's best friend. You know who she is." Huamin had no choice but to use Zhu Lingling as an excuse. After that, the afternoon tea was distributed to a few young nurses in the department, and everyone ate with relish, just as she was about to go to work, a male doctor suddenly knocked on her door. "Excuse me, is Huamin here?" "I am." Huamin wiped the corner of her mouth, stood up, and said, "Here, this is for you." The male doctor suddenly took out a bouquet of red roses from behind him. Huamin was momentarily dumbfounded. The point was, she didn't even know the guy in front of her. Could someone tell her what was going on? Chapter 81. Do we know each other? Huamin asked in confusion. The male doctor was wearing black-rimmed glasses and looked a little shy. "You might not know me, so let me introduce myself. My name is Zhu Cheng. I'm a doctor from the second ophthalmology department of our hospital. I've seen you many times, and you used to come to my department a lot. You're Dr. Ning's girlfriend, right? But I heard that you guys broke up recently, so I thought this might be my chance. I've been secretly in love with you for a long time. You look gentle, cute, pretty, and have a great body. You're my type, right?" The male doctor rattled off a bunch of words and then sincerely handed over the roses. Huamin felt like he was struck by lightning. Wasn't this too dramatic? The nurses behind him almost couldn't hold back their laughter. Huamin glanced at the roses and then at Dr. Zhu. He said helplessly, "I'm sorry, you're not my type." "Then what type do you like? I can change it." Dr. Zhu didn't seem to give up. Huamin quickly waved his hand. No, don't change it. I can change it. Anyways, thank you, but I can't take the flowers." "Huamin, please reconsider. It's really okay. I have to go to work. I'm in a hurry, so I'll be going now. Thank you." After he spoke, Huamin didn't wait for Dr. Zhu to say anything else. He walked into the OB/GYN consultation room, through a side door, and hid. Dr. Zhu was obviously disappointed. He stood at the door dejectedly. At this time, Huan Yu walked up and smiled. "Hey, idiot, don't think about my senior. She won't like someone like you. Go back and take a good look in the mirror. It's not your fault that you're ugly, but it's wrong of you to come out and scare people." After she spoke, Huang Yu giggled and ran away. Dr. Zhu stood there dumbfounded. After a while, he slowly walked out with the flowers in his hands. He had been secretly in love with Huamin for a long time. In the past, whenever he saw Huamin and Ning Ziyuan talking together and seeing their dimples when they smiled, he felt especially warm. Later, Iman told him that Ning Ziyuan and Huamin had broken up, so he wanted to give it a try. He didn't think that she wouldn't even give him a chance. Dr. Zhu was indeed a little ugly, but that wasn't the point. Most importantly, no matter how handsome he was, Huamin wouldn't accept him. To her, there was someone who had been deeply planted in her heart since 7 years ago, and no one could replace him. After manager Huamin, and Huamin, Huamin. The assistant didn't understand what the boss wanted. He had been busy the whole morning and didn't even have time to eat lunch. He only arrived at the airport when he was about to board the plane. He felt that the boss was always mysterious. Could it be that Huamin had a mistress? Was it the woman with a different identity from last time? Assistant Yang thought to himself. President Qin, these are the contracts that you signed with the client this afternoon. Here's the information. You can go through them on the plane. Okay. President Qin, you haven't had lunch yet. I wanted to order takeout for you, but it's too late. Why don't you eat something on the plane? I heard that the lunch in first class is pretty good. Okay. Qin Chu nodded. He was in a good mood. Have you booked the return flight? Not yet. There are only flights after 12 p.m., and it'll be 3 a.m. by the time you get here. I didn't want to disturb your rest, so I booked a hotel for you. It'll be better if you fly back tomorrow morning. No need. Cancel the hotel and book the flight at 12 p.m. President Qin, it's too rushed. You'll be very tired. Book the flight. After saying these 3 words, Qin Chu turned around and walked towards the VIP entrance. Assistant Yang was speechless when he saw how stubborn his president was. Just how much did his president miss his home? He had to fly back in the middle of the night. It seemed like he didn't have a good relationship with the chairman and his wife. At the first hospital, when Huamin got off work, she received a call saying that Qin Chu ordered them to pick her up. Of course, she didn't know that Qin Chu was worried that she would be in danger. So he sent bodyguards to pick her up. Although the hospital was only 10 minutes away from home, Qin Chu was still worried. Miss, this way, please. The two bodyguards in black suits pointed at a black Mercedes-Benz. Huamin thought that the scene was a bit too grand. After she got home, she washed her face and sat down on the sofa to rest. Then, she received a call from her mother. Mom, what's wrong? Huamin became nervous. She was worried that something might have happened to her brother. Go back to the Hua family in a bit. Yang Merong's tone was serious. Huamin's heart sank when she heard this. The Hua family, that heartless family? Did that person ask her to go back? Chapter 82. Mom, I'm not going back. Other than the fact that my surname is Hua, I have nothing to do with that family. I don't like that person either. Huamin's heart was filled with hatred towards her biological father, Hua Jinghai, who was one of the top 10 richest men in the city. That man had ignored her and her mother for years. He didn't even give them any money. It was as if he was dead. He didn't even come to Uncle Jing's funeral. Apparently, Uncle Jing was a chauffeur for 10 years. Such an emotionless man, he did not deserve to be her father. Go back. I heard that your grandmother passed away. Yang Merong's tone was a little sad. If there was one person in the Hua family that was nice, it would be Mrs. Hua. She was an old lady who believed in Buddhism. She hadn't lived in the Hua family for many years and had been praying at a temple in the south. Huamin met her once. Her grandmother came to visit her with a chauffeur. She bought her pretty clothes and even gave her money. However, her mother didn't seem to want it. That was 10 years ago. At the time, Huamin was only a teenager. Upon hearing that her grandmother passed away, Huamin's heart skipped a beat. It was an uncomfortable feeling. Go, don't worry about the others. Your grandmother was nice to you. She even came to visit you before. You should at least give her 10%. Okay, I got it. After hesitating for a moment, Huamin finally nodded. She walked to her closet and wanted to find a black shirt to wear to the funeral. Suddenly, she remembered that she had moved and didn't bring her things with her. Now, other than the white lab coat that she wore for work, she was wearing a white t-shirt and jeans. She opened the wardrobe door with melancholy and was shocked by the clothes in the wardrobe. There were dozens of clothes. They were all new and had labels. They were all luxury brands, and each one cost at least 4 figures. Dresses, jeans, t-shirts, sweaters, jackets, dresses, shawls. Everything was there: LV, Chanel, Versace, DG, Dior, Gucci, Prada, Valentino. Everything was there. Was he going to move a store here? Huamin randomly picked up a label and looked at the size. They were all size S, just the right size for her. Was all of this prepared by Qin Shu? But why hadn't he told her about it before? This guy. After recovering from the shock, Huamin took out a black dress from the wardrobe and put it on. It actually looked exceptionally good. She got into a taxi and arrived at the Hua family's villa in the western suburbs 40 minutes later. From afar, you could see many black cars parked outside. It seemed that they were all here to pay their respects. Huamin slowly walked in. I'm sorry. Please show me your invitation. The security guard at the door stopped Huamin. Huamin had never entered this house, so the security guard naturally did not recognize her. I'll help Grandma. Huamin didn't finish his sentence. She saw a black Maserati stop beside her and roll down the window. Hua Xiqian said to the security guard, "Let her through. She's my sister." "Yes, young master." The security guard opened the door, and Huamin walked straight in. After Hua Xiqian parked the car, he ran up to him. "I didn't expect you to come. I thought you didn't want to come to this house." "Of course I don't want to come to this house. I just want to send Grandma off. It has nothing to do with anyone else," Huamin said coldly. "Mian, you look beautiful today." After speaking, Hua Xiqian didn't wait for Huamin to speak and walked towards the morning hall. "You're crazy." Huamin looked at his back and cursed. What kind of day was this? It was a day of mourning. Was this the time to praise someone's beauty? Huamin always felt that Hua Xiqian wasn't normal, even though he was very popular with women and had a high status in the family. Huamin also walked towards the morning hall. Everyone in the Hua family was kneeling there. First, Madame Jianghong, second, Madame Shenjiani, Yinyan, and Hua Si were all there. In the middle was her biological father, Hua Jinghai, whom she hadn't seen in many years. This is Hua Zhenghai looked at Hua Min and didn't recognize him at all. "Dad, this is Hua Min," Hua Xiqian introduced. Hua Zhenghai was obviously slightly surprised when he heard this. He was the one who called Yang Meirong and asked Hua Min to come home. However, he really didn't know that the child had grown up so quickly. After hearing that it was Hua Min, everyone looked over. Hua Min just stood there quietly. There wasn't a trace of emotion on his face. Chapter 83. Hua Min? Which Hua Min? Is he the bastard that my father had with another woman outside? Hua Yin, Hua Xiqian's daughter, said this. This girl was spoiled to the point that she didn't care about anyone, so her words were vicious. Who said I'm an illegitimate child? If that's the case, then you're also an illegitimate child. Since you're also an illegitimate child? Hua Xiqian said this with a smile, so it looked like he was joking. Shen Jiani's expression changed slightly when she heard this. Hui Yin was also unhappy. Big brother, how can I be the same as her? I grew up in the Hua family, and my mother has status. Who does her mother think she is? She's just a bitch who ran away with a chauffeur. Hua Min glanced at Hui Yin and said coldly, a cultured person wouldn't open her mouth and curse. It seems like the socialite of the Hua family is only SOSO. Who are you calling uncultured? Hui Yin was furious when she heard this, and she almost stood up. Shen Jiani pulled her back. Yin, don't cause trouble. Can't you see where we are? Since you're here, let's watch the coffin together. Quan, get her a mourning cloth. Hua Zhenghai, who had been silent the whole time, said, Yes, master. Then, a servant brought in a long white mourning cloth. Hua Min took it and tied it around his head. Then, he slowly knelt down in front of the mourning hall. In the middle of the mourning hall was the old madam's portrait. Hua Min felt terrible, but it wasn't to the point of tears. That would seem too fake. The Hua family also knelt for a while and then rested. Hua Yin only knelt for a while before she said that she was dizzy and was helped into the mansion. Hua Si also ran out, saying that he was entertaining a friend. After that, only Hua Min and Hua Xiqian were left in the mourning hall. Mian, take a rest if you're tired. You don't have to keep kneeling. I'm not tired, Hua Min replied while burning paper in the basin. It'll be dinner soon. Get up and wash your face first. I'm not hungry. Hua Min refused again. Hua Xiqian quietly stared at Hua Min's face. After a while, she said, If it weren't for the nanny's funeral, I'm afraid you wouldn't even enter this house, right? Yes. You're really straightforward. Hua Xiqian smiled slightly. Hua Min didn't say anything else. He just silently recited some words of blessing. Half an hour later, dinner time. Hua Zhenghai looked around but didn't see Hua Min, so he asked, Where's the kid? She's still standing vigil. I asked Xiqian to call her, but she said she wasn't hungry and didn't have an appetite, Zhang Hong said. What do you mean she's not hungry? I think she's faking it. She wants to impress Dad. Women like her are the most hypocritical, Huan Yin interrupted. Yin, don't say things like that. Mom, I'm telling the truth. My classmates said that people like her, who come from a humble background, seem innocent, but are actually the most scheming. Because she lived at the bottom of society, she's seen a lot of ugly things. She's not that innocent. Dad, don't believe her. Hua Zhenghai glanced at Hua Yin and didn't say anything. Hua Min doesn't look like she's faking it. She doesn't need to suck up to Dad. After all, Dad hasn't given her anything in the past few years. She seems to be used to it. Hua Xiqian's words made Hua Zhenghai's expression change slightly. Indeed, he seemed to have forgotten about this daughter of his. If it weren't for his mother's dying instructions, he would have asked Hua Min to come back. He wouldn't have even called Yang Meirong. Let's eat, Hua Zhenghai said after a moment of silence. 20 minutes later, everyone gathered in the morning hall again. Madame Hua Zhenghai said slowly, Zhenghai, the feng shui master said that someone needs to stand vigil around the clock tonight. It's best if it's a woman, because men are afraid of offending people. Mom liked Yin Yin a lot when she was alive, so I think we should let Yin Yin stand vigil. Hua Yin Yin's expression immediately changed when she heard this. Auntie, I can't do it. I have low blood sugar and I feel dizzy all the time. My mom made an appointment with a doctor, and he'll be here soon to put me on an 4-drip. You should let my brother and brother stand vigil. How could she stand vigil alone? How could she do something as scary as that? She was the whole family's little princess. Shinjiani also chimed in. Yes, sis, Yin Yin isn't feeling well. How about I stand vigil for her? How can that be? Only the younger generation can do it. Mom, let Huamin stand vigil, Huasichin volunteered. At that moment, everyone looked at Huamin. Huamin also heard their conversation. It was just a vigil. It was her wish to see her grandmother off. Can you do it alone? Madame Hua Zhenghai looked at Huamin and asked. Chapter 84. Huamin nodded. Huasichin smiled. See, I knew little sister Mian was the most reliable. You can only see a person's true colors at critical moments. Big brother, what do you mean? It's not that I don't want to watch over Grandma's coffin. I just don't feel well. Hua Yinyan hurriedly explained. Okay, stop arguing. It's settled then. Huamin glanced at Hua Zhenghai with a complicated expression. After 9 p.m., Huamin was the only one left in the huge morning hall. There were wreaths on both sides, and in the middle was Grandma's coffin, which contained her body. Apparently, the funeral wouldn't be held until tomorrow, so they had to stay overnight. Huamin graduated from medical school and worked in hospitals for so long that he was numb to the sight of corpses. Plus, it was his family, so he wasn't afraid. However, he didn't expect Hua Yinyan to be so timid. He really couldn't count on them. She silently lowered her head and burned the joss paper. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. Thank you for your hard work tonight. The old voice was clearly Hua Zhenghai's. It's my job, Huamin replied faintly without turning around. I heard you didn't eat anything tonight, so I asked someone to make supper. It'll be here in a bit. I'm not hungry. Your mother, is she okay? Hua Zhenghai hesitated for a moment before asking. Thanks to you. She's doing very well, Huamin said on purpose. You guys are all the same. You're both so headstrong. President Hua, you must be joking. It's good that we're self-reliant. After all, no one in this world can be relied on forever. Relying on ourselves is the way to go. Huamin's words made Hua Zhenghai feel like he was invincible. Huamin, back then, sorry, I'm not interested in what happened back then. If there's nothing else, President Hua, please leave. Didn't the feng shui master say that only one person can do it? Have you ever thought about coming back? No. Do you know what you'll lose if you refuse my offer? It's nothing more than inheritance rights. I'm not interested. President Hua, you don't have to feel guilty. After my grandmother passed away, I will never return to this family again. You? Hua Zhenghai didn't expect that Huamin didn't want to come back to the Hua family. She didn't want to come back even when he invited her. She heard from Si Qian that this child was now working in the hospital as an intern nurse. It seemed like she wasn't living a good life. With one word, he could arrange for her to be a high-ranking executive in the whole corporation with a high salary and no work. But she refused. She was just as stubborn and willful as her mother, inside the Hua family villa. Si Qian, I see that you're quite nice to that child. Do you have any private dealings with her? Zhang Hong asked as she held her teacup. No, I do want to interact with her, but she doesn't seem to like me. I can see that you're very protective of her. Do you have any plans? Hua Xiqian walked behind Zhang Hong and gently massaged her back. Mom, what do you think? You're not going to help her come back to the Hua family, stand on our side, and get an extra share, right? Zhang Hong knew her son well. Although he wasn't her biological son, she raised him since he was a child. She knew that he wasn't someone who would take advantage of others. That's a great idea, but it's not going well. That girl doesn't seem to want to come back. Maybe the Hua family shares are a temptation, but she might not want them. Plus, she's living a normal life now. Really? I'll ask her later. If you want, I'll help you. No need, Mom. You should enjoy your old age. I'll take care of the internal strife. I won't care about those two idiots. Hua Xiqian smiled slightly. Qinshu's flight was supposed to take off at 12 o'clock a.m. and arrive in the city at 3 o'clock a.m. However, he thought it was too late. After signing the contract, he drove to another city's airport and took another flight to come back earlier. It was only 11:50 a.m. when he got off the plane. He went straight to his home in Imperial Park after getting off the plane. He thought that Huamin would be fast asleep, but when he opened the door, there was no one there. Huamin's voice rang out. She adjusted the vibration so as not to disturb her grandmother's rest. "What is it? You didn't come home?" asked Qin Chu. "I'm at the Hua residence," replied Huamin calmly. Qin Chu frowned slightly. He knew the relationship between Huamin and the Hua family very well. Didn't Huamin hate going back to the Hua family? "Grandma passed away. I'm here to keep vigil," explained Huamin when Qin Chu didn't say anything. "My condolences," comforted Qin Chu. "I will." "Are you the only one keeping vigil?" asked Qin Chu worriedly when he heard the silence. Chapter 85. "Yes," Huamin answered honestly. "Are you scared?" Qin Chu's voice suddenly became gentle, as if he was coaxing a child. "Why would I be? I went to medical school, so I'm not interested in corpses anymore. It's just that when I think about my grandmother lying inside, I can't help but feel sad. Birth, old age, sickness, and death are the laws of nature. None of us can change them. Don't take it too hard." "I know." After Huamin said this, he added, "Why are you still up so late?" "I just came back from a business trip." "So late?" "Yeah, then you must be tired." "Rest early," Huamin said softly. To her surprise, Qin Chu had no intention of resting at all. He replied, "Let's keep the call going. I'll stay with you." Perhaps he was afraid that Huamin would reject him. So Qin Chu added, "I'll stay with you like this." Huamin had no reason to reject Qin Chu's kindness. She knew what kind of person he was. She didn't know if it was because she had stayed up all night, but her eyes felt slightly sore. "Okay." After a long silence, Huamin only replied with one word. Then, she put down her phone. The screen showed that the call was still going on. It was just that the two of them didn't speak anymore. This kind of company was undoubtedly the most special. Although it didn't really mean anything, Huamin felt that she was no longer alone on this sad night. Huamin silently burned joss paper for her deceased grandmother. She didn't feel sleepy at all until the sun rose. At 5:30 in the morning, the sun had just risen. Hua Xiqian walked over in a black shirt and black trousers. He was holding an old LV scarf in his hand. Before Huamin could say anything, he directly put it on her. "I don't need it. Just put on. That belonged to your grandmother when she was alive, unless you don't like it." Hearing Hua Xiqian's words, Huamin felt a little embarrassed to refuse. Otherwise, it would seem as if he despised his grandmother's things. Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin from head to toe and smiled. "Little sister Min, the dress you're wearing must be expensive." "You're mistaken. It's a high-quality imitation." "Oh, really? As a nurse, I don't think your salary is that high. But then again, your job doesn't pay that much. Have you ever thought about coming back to the Hua Corporation to help me?" "Sorry, I'm not interested in the whole corporation." Huamin decisively refused. Hua Xiqian seemed to have expected Huamin to say this. He just smiled and said, "Oh, do you have a grudge against money?" "No, I have a grudge against you." Hua Xiqian spread out his hands innocently. "Little sister Mian, I've always been very friendly to you. You shouldn't treat me like this." Huamin didn't say anything. Just then, Yin Yang Master walked over and said, "It's time to wake up. Go and get ready. We'll be leaving the city at 7 p.m. for the burial." Huamin slowly stood up after hearing this. However, she realized that her knees were too numb from kneeling. As soon as she stood up, she fell to the ground. Hua Xiqian subconsciously went to help her up, but she dodged and fell to the ground. "Why are you doing this? I can't eat you." Hua Xiqian was a little helpless. Huamin didn't say anything. She slowly stood up with the help of an iron pole and walked towards the resting area. Seeing how stubborn Huamin was, Hua Xiqian's smile deepened. Huamin found a quiet place to sit down. Suddenly, she remembered that her phone was still on. She was probably still on the phone with Qin Chu. Then, he must have heard her conversation with Hua Xiqian, right? She took out her phone and saw that the call was still going on. She didn't know if Qin Chu was asleep, so she carefully took the phone and asked, "Qin Chu, are you asleep?" Chapter 86. To her surprise, Qin Chu faintly said, Stay away from that pervert, Huasiqian. For a moment, Huamin didn't know how to respond. Did you hear me? Qin Shu warned her childishly. I know. The funeral is at 7 p.m., right? Qin Shu overheard the yin-yang master say over the phone. Yes. Huamin nodded. Then I'll wait for you at the cemetery. It's okay. I'll go to work at the hospital. I've already applied for leave for you. You can rest at home today. Huamin was speechless again. How fast was the Almighty? He even applied for leave. However, she was curious. The clinic had been so busy recently. Would the head nurse be so easy to get leave? The head nurse, she agreed to give me leave? Huamin asked in disbelief. To her surprise, Qin Shu casually said, I called Wu Zhongxing. Okay, you win. When she heard Qin Shu call President Wu, Huamin felt like her blood was about to freeze. A nurse intern in the OB-GYN department wanted to apply for leave, and she directly called the hospital director. Was she looking for trouble? But then again, with Qin Shu's status, if he called President Wu, even if it was a year, President Wu wouldn't complain. That's all. See you in a bit. After speaking, before Huamin could say anything, Qin Shu hung up the phone. Coincidentally, just as he hung up, the phone notified him that it was out of battery. For 6 to 7 hours, Qin Shu stayed with her on the other end of the phone, and he didn't fall asleep. How strong was his willpower? Sometimes, Huamin had an illusion that Qin Shu still loved her deeply, although he never said it. However, that was just an illusion. Most of the time, after calming down, Huamin felt that the only thing left between Qin Shu and her was unwillingness. She couldn't accept being dumped 7 years ago. She couldn't accept the one-sided breakup 7 years ago. On the day of the funeral, the weather was gray and the wind was strong. Huamin's heart was heavy. There were more than 60 people in the Hua family, including their relatives. There were also more than 100 guests outside. The grand motorcade consisted of more than 100 black Mercedes-Benzes lined up in a row. The scene was extremely grand. The leading car was a black Rolls-Royce with a portrait of the old lady hanging on the front. All the mourners were dressed in black with white cloth strips on their arms. There were even a few local media outlets that deliberately followed the news and reported on it, creating a huge commotion. Huamin wore a black dress and black sunglasses. She followed behind the crowd and became an inconspicuous presence. Huasiqian, Huasi, Huayanyan, and the first madam and second madam followed on either side of Hua Zhenghai. Naturally, she was the one who appeared the most on camera. Yin was different from yesterday. She cried like a pear blossom in the rain, and her eyes were red and swollen. It was heartbreaking to see her. The media gave her a close-up, and the host explained in front of the TV. The daughter of the Hua family, Huayanyan, attended the funeral. Miss Hua looks very sad, and her eyes are red and swollen. I heard that she was keeping vigil for her grandmother last night. Not only is Miss Hua sweet, but she's also very caring. What a rare good girl. Such a kind girl is rare in high society. It's obvious that the Hua family raised them well. When this was broadcast, Zhu Lingling almost vomited when she saw it on the plane. She was very close to Huamin, so she naturally knew about the Hua family situation. A few stewardesses discussed in private. Huayanyan is really good. She's pretty, kind, and even reincarnated into the Hua family. I wonder if she saved the galaxy in her past life. What are you talking about? That woman isn't as good as she looks. She's very evil. Don't believe the media's one-sided story. Zhu Lingling said angrily. If there was one good person in the Hua family, it would definitely be Huamin. The others were all hypocrites. How did you know, Lingling? Are you good friends with Huayanyan? A stewardess asked. Chapter 87. How could I be friends with that kind of person? If that were the case, I would be so depressed, Zhu Lingling replied with disdain. The funeral procession went all the way to the North Hill Cemetery. The old lady was buried at the top of the hill. It was said that the cemetery cost 50,000 yuan per square meter. It was shockingly expensive. The Hua family bought over 2,000 square meters of land and turned it into a cemetery for the Hua family. Huamin stood at the side with his glasses on and didn't say a word. Just then, Huasi suddenly walked over and stopped in front of her. What are you looking at? Are you jealous? Dad bought this cemetery for the Hua family. But as an illegitimate daughter, you don't have the right to be buried here, so don't even think about it. Huamin didn't even look at Huasi and replied, It's such a nice place. I can't afford it. Of course, Huasi said proudly. So, should I wish you a quick burial? Huamin added, What did you say? Huasi was so angry that he raised his hand and was about to hit her. However, Huamin quietly reminded him, Young Master Hua, don't be impulsive. The media is here, and they're just waiting for some pictures to show you. If you want to be in the headlines, then go ahead and hit me. I'll cooperate with you. You better watch out for me. Upon hearing Huamin's words, Huasi immediately put down his hand and looked around. Luckily, the media didn't take any pictures of them. He angrily cursed and turned to leave. Huasi was just like Huayin. He was spoiled and arrogant, so he was part of the Hua family. Huasi was young and aggressive. His competition with Hua Xiqian was getting more and more intense. He relied on his father's love and his mother's help. He was becoming more and more like the future head of the Hua family. However, Huamin thought that Hua Xiqian could deal with this brainless guy in a matter of minutes. The only reason why Huasi didn't do anything was because the female celebrity behind him was difficult to deal with. However, she wasn't interested in the Hua family competition at all. No matter who won or lost, it had nothing to do with her. After the funeral procession, all the motorcade returned to the Hua Manor one after another. Apparently, Hua Zhenghai had prepared 60 tables of banquets at a 5-star hotel to thank those who had come to pay their respects. Huamin naturally would not go again. She had done what she should do. Grandma had been buried in peace. It was time for her to leave. After the media and the Hua family left, she slowly walked down the cemetery alone. When he reached the entrance, it started to rain. Huamin stood at the entrance, wondering if he should go to the store in the cemetery to buy an umbrella or go to the bus stop in the rain. Suddenly, a black Maybach 62S slowly stopped in front of the cemetery. It was said that this car was worth more than 11 million yuan, and it was a top-notch model from Germany. Many rich people in China fought to order it, but there were limited places in Asia. In the end, only 6 cars were imported from China. At that time, the news was quite sensational. Huamin could always hear the private gossip of a few young nurses in the OB/GYN clinic. So when she saw this car, Huamin couldn't help but take a second look. However, the person who got out of the car. Wait, why did he look so familiar? Qin Shu was wearing a black slim-fit suit with a small white flower on his chest. He looked like the perfect funeral procession. After he got out of the car, he slowly opened the black umbrella. Then he walked towards Huamin. Huamin didn't know what to say when she saw Qin Shu's outfit. She knew that he was dressed like this out of respect for Grandma. If I didn't come to pick you up, were you planning on going home in the rain? Qin Shu looked at Huamin and asked, Aren't you here now? Huamin paused for a moment before slowly speaking. Qin Shu was a bit helpless. He took out a white handkerchief from his pocket and wiped the rain off Huamin's forehead. Get in the car. Huamin sat in the top-notch Maybach and looked at the handsome man in front of her who was acting as her chauffeur. At this moment, she felt like the person who saved the bank in her past life wasn't Huayin. It was her. Qin Shu, ahem, isn't your car too high profile? Huamin couldn't help but ask after holding it in for a long time. Sea City's first Maybach was so high profile that it would definitely attract a lot of attention. Was it really a good idea for him to attract hatred like this? Chapter 88. Qin Shu said faintly, This is the only black car left in the garage. Huamin was speechless again. Rich people could do whatever they wanted. Qin Shu drove all the way to Imperial Park. After Huamin went upstairs, she suddenly felt a sense of belonging. No matter how busy or tired you were, you would feel at ease when you returned to a place. Maybe it was a habit or because she was too tired, but Huamin curled up on the sofa and fell asleep after changing her shoes. Qin Shu saw her like this and frowned slightly. His heart ached for her. Then he took out a white blanket from the bedroom and covered Huamin with it. Huamian fell asleep in a daze and had a dream. In her dream, her grandmother was sitting on a green rock in front of the temple, embroidering a handkerchief. She heard that her grandmother was born into a rich family and her embroidery skills were excellent. Later on, her family fell apart and she had to wander around with her grandfather. Later on, her grandfather started from scratch and owned a small factory. He became busier and busier, and her grandmother was left to do some handicrafts at home. 25 years ago, before Huamin was born, her grandfather passed away from lung cancer. Old Madame Hua moved out and lived in the temple all year round, saying that she was praying for her grandfather. In the end, she was just an infatuated woman. Huamin and her grandmother had only met a few times, but because of that little bit of kinship, she still remembered it to this day. She dreamt that she slowly walked over, leaned on her grandmother's knee, and slowly fell asleep. The sunlight from the temple was exceptionally warm and enveloped her whole body. That kind of happiness was indescribable. When Huamin woke up, she saw a white blanket covering her body. It was made of bamboo charcoal fiber and was very smooth when it covered her body. Other than Qin Shu, she couldn't think of anyone else. She looked at her charge phone and saw that it was already 11:30 p.m. It seemed like she had slept for 3 to 4 hours. Huamin was a little hungry. She got up and yawned, then went upstairs to the sauna room on the second floor. There was a public steam room on the second floor where people could take a bath and steam themselves. The decoration was very Korean style. However, he had never used the Huamin because he felt that it was inconvenient because it was public. However, Qin Shu wasn't home today. She was alone at home, so she wanted to sweat it out and get rid of her fatigue. After she finished showering, she realized that she had forgotten to bring a towel in desperation. Huamin had no choice but to grab a towel from the sauna room, wrap it around the key parts of his body, and then carefully walk out. When Huamin walked along the corridor to the bedroom, the door of the study magically opened. Qin Shu's sudden appearance left Huamin completely dumbfounded. Then, an even more melodramatic scene appeared. In her nervousness, she wanted to hug the towels tightly, but the two towels actually loosened. Slowly descending, Huamian shrieked and covered her face with her hands, not knowing what to do. This was because she heard a joke before. There was a bathhouse on fire, and many beautiful women ran out. Some covered their upper bodies, while others covered their lower bodies. Only one beauty calmly walked out and only covered her face. She proudly said that no one would know who she was like this. Then, Huamin really did just cover her face. Qin Shu was a little dumbfounded by her actions. Then, looking at her exposed body, Qin Shu gulped and tried his best to control a certain desire in his heart. There are only 2 of us in the room, so is there really a need to cover your face? Qin Shu coughed and asked. Chapter 89. Get up. Huamin panicked when she saw that Qin Shu had no intention of leaving. Are you sure you're not trying to seduce me by walking up and down the hallway naked in broad daylight? Qin Shu looked at Huamin in amusement, his gaze never leaving her naked body. I thought you weren't home. Who knew you would be home at this hour? Don't you need to go to work? Huamin angrily raised her hand and pointed at Qin Shu, her face full of anger. Qin Shu didn't say anything. His gaze trailed down her plump upper body. Pervert! Huamin suddenly felt like she had been seen naked. Then, in the next second, she violently pushed Qin Shu away and quickly ran into the bedroom. Qin Shu looked helpless as he muttered to himself, I'm your legal husband, okay, Miss Hua? In the bedroom. After Huamin changed, she refused to come out of the bedroom. She didn't even know how to face Qin Shu. What happened just now was so embarrassing. There was also that joke that made her cover her face. How stupid was she to be like that? There were only 2 people in the house. If she covered her face, her body would be seen, and she would be exposed. If Zhu Lingling knew about this, she would definitely say, Oh my God, are you still the genius with an IQ of 130? I think you've degenerated to the point of dementia in the past 7 years. Most importantly, Huamin thought that Qin Shu had gone to work. Shouldn't the president of GK be very, very busy? Why was he wandering around the house in the middle of the day? Plus, it wasn't the weekend. Could someone tell her what was going on? Chin Chu was indeed supposed to go to work today, but he was worried about Huamin. He was worried that she wouldn't have anything to eat when she woke up. Therefore, he simply used the computer in the study to have a video conference. Then he received the email and processed all the documents for the day. He looked at the time. It was almost noon. Thinking that Huamin might wake up soon, he walked out of the study. Yet, he didn't expect to see such an erotic scene. 7 years ago, they had indeed slept together, but they were young and ignorant at that time, so they did not have any good memories. Moreover, both of them were adults. They had been married for many days, but they had not slept together. Now that such a thing had happened, it was a lot more awkward. Of course, it was awkward for Huamin. Chin Chu, on the other hand, felt that this was a good thing. At least today, he found out that Huamin was actually so capable. Who would have thought that a seemingly thin and weak body would actually have protruding areas and perky areas? For a moment, he really wanted to rush over and push her under his body to bully her. However, he knew that it wasn't the right time yet. Doing so would inevitably scare her. Chin Chu waited in the living room for a long time, but Huamin did not come back. In his heart, he guessed that she was embarrassed. Therefore, he walked upstairs and knocked on the door. "Hey, are you planning on hiding in the bedroom forever? Leave, I'll go out if you leave. Even if I leave, it won't change the fact that I saw you naked." The corners of Chin Chu's lips curled up slightly. "Don't say any more." Huamin covered her cheeks. She felt as if her cheeks were on fire. "So, you're not planning on having dinner with me? Don't you have to go to work today?" Huamin asked helplessly through the door. "Yeah, so if you keep hiding, there's no point because I'll be home the whole day. How can you be so despicable?" Huamin said angrily. "I think if there were cameras in the bathroom, that would be despicable, right?" Chin Chu said slowly. Huamin was completely speechless. "Come out, let's go eat." "I'm not eating." "Fine, since you're so stubborn, then I'll have to call Wu Zhongxing and tell him that my wife is not going to work. From now on, she'll be hiding in the bedroom every day." After speaking, Chin Chu pretended to leave. As expected, Huamin immediately opened the door. "Hey, stop right there. Who are you to interfere with my work? It's good that you're out. Let's go eat, I'm starving." After speaking, Chin Chu took the lead and went downstairs. Huamin was wearing a set of light yellow sportswear. Her hair was still wet, so it was carelessly loose. However, her get-up made her look much younger. At first glance, one would think that she was a high school student. Inside the Maybach, when Chin Chu saw Huamin's get-up, he stared at her for a few seconds. An imperceptible gentleness flashed across his eyes. "What are you looking at? Haven't you seen a pretty girl before?" Huamin turned her head away, purposely not looking at Chin Chu. Chapter 90. Chin Chu smiled slightly and replied slowly, "Yeah, I've never seen a beauty who only covers her face without clothes." "Hey!" Huamian felt so embarrassed that she wanted to dig a hole in the ground and hide in it. "If you don't stop, I'm getting out of the car," Huamin said as he opened the car door. However, Chin Chu grabbed his arm and said, "Stop messing around." Huamin felt the warmth of Chin Chu's palm through his clothes. Huamin felt his heart race. Then, Chin Chu pulled back his hand and focused on driving. The two of them were silent the entire way. 30 minutes later, the car stopped at the food street behind Second High School. Huamin looked at his alma mater and recalled a lot of memories. "I heard that this land is going to be occupied." "Really? When?" Chin Chu asked casually. "It should be this year. Last year, this place was marked for demolition. I heard that the school is going to be moved to the outskirts. Why is the news I received different from yours?" "I heard that no one is going to move this land." "Really?" Huamin looked at Chin Chu in disbelief. "Yeah, I heard that it has no commercial value, and no one wants it." After speaking, Chin Chu turned around and walked into a restaurant. Aixion's Romance was the name of this restaurant. The owner was a Taiwanese called Aixion. He was in his 40s. His wife was a local, So he and his wife moved here 20 years ago. They had a son and a daughter and were very happy. When Qin Shu and Huamin were in high school, they often came here to eat noodles. Huamin came here because the noodles were not only delicious, but also very cheap. The ramen only cost 2 yuan a bowl. It was quite a lot. Although the side dish was only chopped green onions, it tasted really good. At first, Qin Shu didn't like the food at the roadside stall and refused to come. Later, he couldn't resist Huamin's temptation and started eating as well. Habit is a scary thing. Once you get used to something, it's hard to change it. Huamin looked at the noodle shop. It looked exactly the same as it did 7 years ago. He felt as if he had traveled back in time. After breaking up with Qin Shu, she basically never came back because she was afraid of touching something deep in her heart. She did not expect Qin Shu to take the initiative to come here. "Boss, 2 bowls of ramen, please," Qin Shu said. "Okay." The enthusiastic boss answered while cooking the noodles. "Why are you still standing there? Come here." Qin Shu shouted when he saw Huamin standing at the door in a daze. Only then did Huamin come back to his senses. He slowly walked in and took a seat. "Boss, how much is a bowl of your ramen now?" Huamin was curious. She guessed that with the current prices, it should be at least $10 a bowl. Unexpectedly, the boss just laughed and said, "It's still the same." 2. Huamin was shocked. "Yes, but the prices are so high now. Aren't you going to lose money?" Huamin was confused. The boss wiped the sweat off his forehead and smiled foolishly. "I'm not going to lose money. It's just that I make very little money." "Then why don't you raise the price?" "It's not like everyone can accept it. Because I don't want to ruin everyone's childhood memories. A lot of kids who graduated from second high come back to eat here every year. Sometimes I really feel like I'm not selling ramen, but the memories of my childhood." "Boss, you shouldn't be selling ramen. You should be a writer. You're just like Yu Qiuyu." Huamin laughed. "I'm just an uneducated man who doesn't know anything about literature. But my wife said that happiness in this world can't be bought with money. Every time I see you kids saying that you feel happy eating here, I feel like I'm doing something meaningful. I don't think about money anymore. Plus, it's fine as long as I have enough money. Too much money is a problem. It's rare for you to have this kind of insight." Qin Shu looked at the boss and said slowly. The boss just smiled foolishly and didn't say anything else. After a while, 2 bowls of steaming hot ramen were served. Huamin picked up the chopsticks and couldn't wait to take a bite. It was exactly the same as it was back then. "It's delicious," Huamin said emotionally. "Eat more if it's delicious." Qin Shu looked at Huamin's satisfied face and felt happy. "Boss, the bill." After eating like a hurricane, Huamin took the initiative to wave his hand. "No need. Qin Shu still has a lot of money left." The boss smiled. "Money? You save money here? When did this happen?" Huamin was slightly surprised. 7 years ago." "You? How much did you save?" Huamin looked at Qin Shu in disbelief, as if he was looking at an alien. Chapter 91. 73,000 yuan. After hearing this answer, Huamin's mouth formed an O shape. Then, Qin Shu continued, "A bowl of noodles is 2 yuan. If we eat a bowl every day, that's 4 yuan for 2 people. That's 1,460 yuan a year. If we calculate it based on 50 years, that's exactly 73,000 yuan. So you're saying you saved up 50 years' worth of noodles all at once?" Huamin wanted to cry, but had no tears. "I just want to eat ramen with you for the rest of my life. That's all," Qin Shu slowly said as he stared into Huamin's eyes. At this time, the noodle shop owner interrupted. "So I promised this kid that if I'm old and can't make ramen anymore, I'll let my child inherit the noodle shop. I'll also help you remember the accounts clearly. You don't have to worry about us not giving you the noodles after taking your money." Huamin quickly explained, "Boss, that's not what I meant. I just think this is too weird." "I don't think so." Qin Shu had an innocent look on his face. "Okay, pretend I didn't say anything." When they walked out of the noodle shop, Huamin still hadn't calmed down. If a man was willing to eat ramen with you for the rest of his life, did that mean he was willing to be with you for the rest of his life? Would it? Would she and Qin Shu be like this for the rest of their lives? She didn't dare to think about it, nor did she dare to hope. You're so lost in thought. It must have something to do with me. Qin Shu looked at Huamin as he drove. Huamin rolled his eyes at him. Can you be any more arrogant? President Qin? Did I say something wrong? In order to cover his tracks, Huamin immediately changed the topic. Speaking of which, the taste of this ramen shop hasn't changed at all. It's been 7 years. I don't know how he did it, but the price hasn't changed either. What nice seller. So, you're changing the subject, which means that I was right? You're really? Seeing that Qin Shu didn't give up, Huamin was speechless. Don't think that you can read my mind. Even twins can't guess each other's thoughts all the time, Huamin said as he turned his head away and ignored Qin Shu. Qin Shu only raised the corner of his mouth slightly and didn't say anything else. According to Huamin's request, Qin Shu drove directly to the first hospital. Huamin bought some dinner for Jixin. Jingji was recovering well after the surgery. During the day, his mother would come to take care of him. At night, Huamin would hire a caregiver. That way, they wouldn't be delayed at all. After delivering some food to Jixin and chatting with him for a while, Huamin saw that it was getting late. He was wondering if he should go home or spend the night in the on-call room, since he had to work the morning shift tomorrow anyway. Zhu Lingling's call came in at this time. She asked her to have dinner together. Inside a Thai restaurant in the city center, Zhu Lingling was wearing a fiery red dress and looked extremely beautiful. Huamin was still wearing her black dress. Mian, over here. You're early. Huamin chuckled. If I didn't come, I wouldn't have been able to get a table. This pineapple rice restaurant is very authentic. Try it later. Okay. Huamin smiled slightly, put down her bag, and sat down elegantly. Oh, this dress is from Versace. Marrying into a rich family is indeed different. Qin Shu is quite generous. Zhu Lingling was a flight attendant and would take on shopping jobs in private. Therefore, she was very sensitive to luxury goods. That's not the point. The point is that I came back to the Hua family to pay my respects, so I wore this black dress. All right, tell me about your visit to the Hua family. Was your rich dad surprised to see you? Also, did you see young Master Hua? Wasn't he an elegant, handsome, and suave man? Was Hua Yinyan as annoying as before? Zhu Lingling asked with a gossipy smile. Hua Xiqian? An elegant and beautiful man. A handsome and elegant man? Why did Huamin feel like they didn't match at all? You asked so many questions at once, I don't know which one to answer. Huamin quietly picked up her teacup and took a small sip. Okay, then I'll ask you one by one. Did you and Qin Shu consummate your marriage? Zhu Lingling's words almost made Huamin spit out the tea she just drank. Chapter 92. What's with your reaction? Don't tell me you guys haven't done it yet? Zhu Lingling looked surprised. Of course not. We're sleeping in separate rooms. No way. Sleeping in separate rooms? Then what's the point of getting a marriage certificate? Zhu Lingling looked at him with disdain. Just because we're married doesn't mean we have to sleep together. Plus, I only agreed because of Jixin's surgery. But you guys are already husband and wife. That's a fact. Huamin remained silent with a melancholy look on his face. She never thought that things would turn out like this, so she didn't know how to get along with Qin Shu anymore. Okay, let's not talk about those depressing things. What do you think of my new boyfriend? Zhu Lingling turned on her phone and showed Huamin an intimate photo of her and her boyfriend. Will this one last for more than 3 months? Huamin looked worried. This one is rich and talented. I don't think it'll be a problem. Haha. I'm going with the goal of getting married. He's a financial genius. I'm serious this time, girl. Hearing Zhu Lingling's confident words, Huamin still felt unsure. You tell me you're serious every time, but it never lasts for more than 3 months. I can't help it. It's not true love. Zhu Lingling rested her chin on her hands and smiled. Okay, did you order? I'm starving. Huamin smiled. I ordered. You're paying the bill today. You're married into a rich family. So I have to rip you off today? Zhu Lingling naughtily stuck out her tongue. Huamin patted his chest. Leave it to me, no problem. Rich people are indeed different. Here's a toast to you, Mr. Rich. I wish you a happy marriage. Let's change the blessing. I don't think this one is reliable. Huamin looked conflicted. Who cares? I'm telling you, Mian, we only live for a few decades. Don't be so hesitant. If you're always afraid, you won't be able to achieve anything in the end. Don't wait until you're old and regret what you didn't do. In my opinion, the relationship between you and Qin Shu is simple. You love him, and he still loves you. Just be together and put everything else aside. Hearing this, Huamian smiled bitterly. Lingling, things aren't as simple as you make them out to be. There are some things that you won't be able to empathize with, and you won't be able to understand my difficulties. All right, let's not talk about anything else. It wasn't easy for us to have a meal together, so let's be happy. After speaking, the two women raised their glasses. The meal cost more than 700 yuan. It was indeed a little extravagant. However, after Huamin paid the bill, Zhu Lingling stuffed a big red packet into her hand. Huamin froze. What's the meaning of this? It's a gift for you. Huamin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Sis, I'm not married yet, but you've already gotten your marriage certificate. You have to be polite. Fine, you win. Huamin had no choice but to accept Zhu Lingling's red packet. It was at least 5,000 yuan. All these years, if there was one thing that made her happy, it was her best friend, Zhu Lingling. She was always by her side when she was in trouble. She never left her side. Huamin once thought that friendship could sometimes last longer than love. After eating with Zhu Lingling, Huamin took a taxi back to Imperial Park. Just as she was about to get out of the car, her phone suddenly rang. Miss Hua, I'm Lawyer Luo. What's up? Huamin's expression immediately darkened when she heard that it was Lawyer Luo. Miss Hua, I'm calling to tell you that you don't have to go through the trouble of suing me in court. You're going to settle this privately with a price again, aren't you? Huamin sneered. No, something happened to my client. What? Huamin thought that she heard wrong, so she repeated herself. Chapter 93. Mr. Luo, can you be more specific? I don't quite understand what you mean. Huamin didn't dare to think too much about it. After all, this was the guy who was making a fuss a few days ago. Didn't he say that he had a powerful background, that he was from Jinting, and that he had relatives who were high-ranking officials? 2 nights ago, something happened to my client's family. He was taken away by the Anti-Corruption Bureau for investigation because he was suspected of corruption. The head of the Ministry of Transportation also came down and said that they would investigate the serial car accident at the university. If convicted, my client, Lu Yigong, will face 5 to 10 years in prison. Oh, isn't that good? That's what they mean by justice has a long arm. Huamin's lips curled up slightly. He thought to himself, retribution comes so quickly, but I'm very confused. Why is it so coincidental that something happened to my client's family and the Ministry of Transportation came down to investigate? The media didn't follow up on this incident too much. So what do you mean? Huamin could tell that there was more to his words. Huamin is hot. I didn't recognize you before, so I hope Miss Hua won't take it to heart. I didn't know that you had someone powerful backing you up. You were able to shake up the Ministry of Finance in such a short period of time and even command the Ministry of Transportation to arrest people. This kind of power is truly intimidating. I hope Miss Hua can forgive me for my inappropriate words in the past. I'm calling today to apologize to you. If you don't mind, I'd like to invite you to dinner. There's no need for that. I understand what you mean. Since the defendant has been arrested, there's no need for me to sue. However, I don't quite understand what you mean by someone powerful. Some things don't need to be said so clearly. Anyway, Miss Hua is very lucky. You're also someone I can't afford to offend. Please forgive me if I offended you in any way. After hanging up the phone, Huamin had a faint premonition in her heart. She had never told Qin Shu about this incident. Could it be that Qin Shu was involved? Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental that the victim was taken away by the Ministry of Transportation to investigate the accident? Everything was going according to her wishes. If this was the will of the heavens, if the heavens had eyes, she couldn't convince herself. With a heavy heart, Huamin returned to Imperial Park. Qin Shu hadn't come back yet because he had been working overnight. After Huamin came back, he became obsessed with cleanliness. He wiped the entire living room with a mop. When he was done, he was already sweating profusely. She was just about to get up and take a shower when she heard the sound of a key unlocking the door. Then, he became slightly nervous. It was strange. He clearly knew that it could only be Qin Shu and no one else. But why was he still inexplicably nervous? You're not on night duty today. She didn't know when it started, but Qin Shu seemed to remember Hua Min's shift schedule better than she did. No, I just had dinner with Ling Ling and came back. Qin Shu nodded and didn't say anything. He looked a little tired. He took off his coat and went upstairs to the bedroom. Did you have dinner? I did. Qin Shu stopped and turned around to look at Hua Min. Oh, Hua Min was a little distracted. Do you have something to say to me? Seeing Hua Min's worried expression, Qin Shu raised his eyebrows and asked, Yes. Okay, go ahead. Qin Shu turned around and walked back downstairs. He sat down on the sofa. About my brother's car accident. Do you know the person who caused it? Hua Min looked at Qin Shu's expression and asked tentatively. Mian, don't test me. Just ask me what you want to ask. You know how well I know you. Qin Shu stared into Hua Mian's eyes, word by word, as if he was trying to see through her. Chapter 94. Seeing this, Hua Min took a deep breath, walked over, and said, Okay, if that's the case, then I'll get straight to the point. Something happened to the family of the culprit who hit my brother. You might not know this, but I was planning to sue them. However, the lawyer said that I don't need to because the culprit was taken away by the Transportation Bureau. His parents, who have a powerful background, were also detained by the Ministry of Finance for investigation. I don't need to sue them anymore. So, Qin Shu looked at Hua Min meaningfully and continued to ask, I don't believe that these are coincidences, nor do I believe in karma. I think that someone is behind this, and I can't think of anyone else besides you. So, if you already know it's me, then why are you still asking? Don't you already know the answer? I just want to hear you admit it yourself. Hua Min was a little emotional. I asked someone to do it, isn't it good? Otherwise, you won't be able to win the lawsuit. You know how ridiculous your actions are. Qin Shu took out a lighter from his pocket and played with it absent-mindedly with his head down. I know it's ridiculous, and I know that you're doing this for my own good. But, Mr. Qin Shu, can you please tell me before you do anything for my own good? Otherwise, I'll look like an idiot who prepared a lot of documents to sue you. Seeing Hua Min's anger, Qin Shu slowly raised his head. I thought you'd be happy if I did this. You didn't do anything wrong. Those people deserved it, but I have the right to know. I don't want to act like an ignorant child in front of you. Don't always pretend to be a savior. You can't save me. You couldn't save me 7 years ago, and you can't save me now. Then, without waiting for him to respond, Hua Min turned around and went upstairs, not giving him a chance to speak. Qin Shu looked at the petite figure of Hua Min walking away with a lonely expression on his face. Then, he muttered to himself, Mian, I just thought that if there's no justice in this world, I'll make one for you. Unfortunately, Hua Min didn't hear this. In fact, the relationship between two people was very complicated. Because people had different personalities, it led to many misunderstandings. There were some words and some people that she wouldn't understand if you didn't tell her. There were some things and some people that she wouldn't understand even if you told her. There were also some words and people that you didn't say, but she understood. On the other hand, Qin Shu thought that he was being nice to Hua Min, so he acted on his own initiative. On the other hand, Hua Min felt that he didn't know anything about this. He felt as if his pride had been hurt. Hua Min returned to his room. He didn't sleep well the whole night and was in a very bad mood. The next morning, she woke up at 6 in the morning and prepared to go to work early to avoid meeting the two of them. However, she still met Qin Shu in the living room. You're early? Qin Shu was wearing a white shirt and had 2 glasses of milk in his hands. MHM. Her answer was obviously perfunctory. Have some breakfast before you go. It's okay, I'm not hungry. After speaking, Hua Min opened the door and walked out. The first hospital, Hua Min helped Jixin get discharged from the hospital and then called a taxi to take him home. Mom, the doctor said that Jixin still needs to rest for a month. I've already talked to the school. You might have to work a little harder and make him more nourishing ginseng soup. It'll help with his recovery. I know. I don't need you to tell me that. Young Mei-rong said in annoyance. Sis, why don't you eat before you leave? I want to have lunch with you. Jing Jixin smiled brightly. It's okay. I still have things to do at the hospital. I'll go back first. I'll come see you when I get some rest. After speaking, Huamin walked out, and Yang Mei-rong followed him out. This was an abandoned suburb of Sea City. Because it hadn't been developed, there were many bungalows, and most of the people living here were ordinary people. After Hua Min's grandparents passed away, Yang Mei-rong, as the only child, inherited the property rights to the house. It was a small courtyard house with east and west wings and an old elm tree in front of the door. Although it was old, it was clean and tidy. Yang Mei-rong ran a small supermarket in front of the door to make ends meet. After living here for so many years, Huamin had developed some feelings for this place. Wait, I have something to ask you. Yang Mei-rong suddenly ran out from behind him and shouted. Chapter 95. Huamin turned around and saw her mother running after her. Mom, what's up? Did that bastard say anything when you went? Yang Mei-rong asked with a dark expression. Huamin immediately realized who her mother was talking about, so she quietly replied, He asked me if I've been doing well all these years. Bullshit. If I was doing well, why would I open a small supermarket in this godforsaken place? That heartless bastard. Yang Mei-rong's face was filled with anger. Huamin also remained silent. I mean, didn't he ask you to work at the whole corporation or something? After all, you're his daughter. Oh, he did. He asked me if I wanted to go back, and I refused, Huamin said honestly. What? You refused? Are you an idiot? Yang Mei-rong pushed Huamin so hard that she almost fell to the ground. Mom, you know, we've been doing well all these years even without him. No, we haven't been doing well. Which one of your eyes saw us doing well? If you were doing well, you wouldn't be studying at a local medical school with good grades, but you can't even be a doctor and can only be an intern nurse. If you were doing well, Jixin would be in a car accident and have to borrow money from everywhere. Do you think I would open a small supermarket in this godforsaken place to make a living? Yang Mei-rong was a little emotional. But Mom, at least we've been living peacefully these years. If you were to live a luxurious life while living in a world of scheming and scheming, would you be willing to do that? Her mother remained silent after hearing this. When I went back this time, I saw the fight between those two women and the conspiracy between their children. I don't think there's anything crueler than that. All that's left between family members is profit. Do you want me to become like that? Then at least you'll have money, and we won't have to suffer. I have money too. I can earn it. Mom, don't worry. I'll make sure you and Jixin live a good life. I won't go back to the whole family, even if you beat me or scold me. That's all. Huamin was resolute. No matter what Yang Mei-rong said, she would never go back to the whole family. When this girl was stubborn, even 10 old cows couldn't pull her back. Huamin left the house and went straight back to the first hospital for duty. Qin Shu, on the other hand, spent the entire day at GK headquarters, looking extremely depressed. Boss isn't in a good mood today. You guys better work hard and don't make any mistakes, okay? Assistant Yang whispered to the female secretaries in the secretarial office. I think it's okay. No matter if the president is happy or not, he seems to be the same. He doesn't show his emotions on his face. Speaking of which, Assistant Yang, how can you tell? If I can't even tell this much, then wouldn't I be an assistant for nothing? Anyway, be careful and don't cause any trouble. After that, Yang knocked on the door and walked into the president's office. CEO Qin, the schedule for the afternoon is as follows. You have to meet with a client from Thailand at 2 o'clock. Then, you have to play golf with CEO Zhang from Tianhe Trade at 4:30. After that, you have to attend a charity banquet at 6 o'clock. Got it, Qin Shu replied casually. President Qin, do you have a date for the charity banquet? Yang asked tentatively. No. Should we? Assisting Yang didn't get to finish his sentence before Qin Chu choked on his words. No need. Okay, then I'll go now, Yang said as he walked out of the office. He was still wondering why the president didn't seem right this morning. First of all, he didn't drive that low-key white Volkswagen CC anymore. Instead, he switched to an extremely high-profile Maybach, which was extremely eye-catching. Second of all, the president's office wasn't playing Milk Tea's song. Instead, it was playing a sad English song. Therefore, he boldly speculated that the president wasn't in a good mood. Could it be that he had a fight with his lover? Just as he was thinking, he heard the president's voice from behind him. Wait, President Sheen, is there something else? If a woman is mad at you, how can you reconcile with her? Reconcile? Yang was confused. President Sheen, do you mean how to make her happy? Yang asked uncertainly. That's pretty much it, Qin Chu said as he typed furiously on the keyboard of his laptop. So, President Qin, did you make your girlfriend angry? Xiaoyang asked again, not afraid of death. Then the president shot him a murderous look. Chapter 96. I didn't hire you to dig into my personal affairs. Yes, I understand, boss. What I mean is, I have to know the reason before I can help you draw a conclusion. After all, I've been there before. I chased my wife for 3 years, dated her for 2 years, and finally got married after 5 years. My wife is a very emotional woman, so I'm very experienced in coaxing women, Assistant Yang said with a smile. Tell me, I'm listening. Send her flowers, 99 roses, to where she works. Vulgar, Qin Chu said coldly. Then buy her a gift, a luxury diamond ring or something. These girls love it so much that they can't put it down. She doesn't. Qin Chu knew Huamin too well. She didn't care about material things. Then pretend to send her a package, and then hide in the box to give her a surprise. Last time I scared my wife to tears. Before Assistant Yang could finish, he swallowed back his words, because he noticed that the president's expression was getting worse and worse. You can leave first. I need some time alone. Qin Chu really suspected that this assistant wasn't here to help him, but to set him up. How did he get a wife with his IQ? It was an unsolved mystery. Okay, boss. After Assistant Yang left, he suddenly thought of something. Was the president's girlfriend called Jing Jing? He just said that he wanted some time alone. However, he was right about one thing. His boss did miss someone, but that person wasn't called Jing Jing. Qin Chu picked up his phone a few times. He wanted to call her, but he felt that they were in a Cold War, so it wasn't appropriate. If he called, there wouldn't be anything to say, suppressing the longing in his heart. He tapped his right hand on the table in frustration. He looked very depressed. Gao Ran's call came at the perfect time. Hey, how come I haven't heard from you since I helped you last time? Shouldn't you buy me a drink? Let's go. Now. Gao Ran was dumbfounded. Yes, it's now. I'll see you later at the old Sichuan restaurant in the south of the city. After that, Qin Chu put on a sapphire blue slim fit suit jacket, opened the door, and walked out with his phone. The female secretaries in the secretarial office were instantly infatuated. Boss, your outfit today is so cool. Don't you think so? It's not the clothes that are too cool. It's our boss's good looks, so everything he wears is pleasing to the eye. Yeah, I don't have to talk to the boss every day. I'm satisfied just by looking at him a few times. I wonder what kind of woman could catch the boss' eye. I'm so envious. In a Sichuan restaurant, in a private room on the second floor, Gao Ran and Qin Chu sat opposite each other. You don't seem to be in good mood. Gao Ran spoke first. Qin Chu didn't say anything. He just poured 2 glasses of white wine and handed one to Gao Ran and the other to himself. Then he lifted the cup and raised it. Gao Ran knew what he was thinking and downed it in one gulp. This wine is so strong. It doesn't matter if it's red wine or foreign wine. I think the white wine brewed from China's grain is the best. After 3 glasses, I feel like I'm on fire. It's so refreshing, huh? You have a lot of free time recently. Qin Chu raised his head and glanced at him. Yeah, we criminal police only handle big cases. Those trivial matters are handled by the local police station. It has nothing to do with us. That's good too. I'm quite envious of you. You can have a job and live peacefully until you're old. I'm envious of you, sitting on a big boss with a net worth of hundreds of billions. Do you have beautiful women throwing themselves at you every day? Aran, I'm married. Chin Chu's lips twitched into a deep smile. Fortunately, he had already swallowed the mouthful of white wine. Otherwise, Gao Ran would have spat it out. Chapter 97. Wait, what did you just say? Married. Stop fooling around. It's not April Fool's Day today. Gao Ran obviously didn't believe him. I'm not joking, but your marriage is such a big deal. How come I didn't know about it? The media didn't report it either. It doesn't make sense. We only got our marriage certificate. We didn't have a wedding. Plus, she didn't want to announce our marriage to the public. You're with Wamin, right? Gao Ran asked tentatively after he came back to his senses. Chin Chu nodded. You're going to be stuck with this woman for the rest of your life. I really don't know what's so good about her. She was so arrogant when she was in school. Yeah, she hurt you so much back then. If it were me, I would have found someone better than her to get back at her. But in my eyes, there's no one better than her in this world. When Chin Chu said this, there was a hint of sadness in his eyes. Fine, fine, fine. Don't say such mushy things to me. But you're too hasty. Marriage is such a big deal. Why didn't you think about it carefully? Gao Ran felt like the news that Chin Chu brought him was like a sudden clap of thunder. It was so explosive that he almost couldn't think straight. Marrying her was something that I decided on 7 years ago. There's no need to think about it anymore. Chin Chu's answer was extremely firm. But Chu, people change. The Huamin from 7 years ago might not be the same person 7 years later. No matter how she changes, she's still Huamin. That's good. Gao Ran's eyes turned red when he heard what she said. He raised his wine glass and said, I'm a fucking man. If I were a woman, I would definitely shamelessly cling on to you. There's so few people in the world who are as loyal and rich as you right now. They're even rarer than national treasures. Chin Chu remained silent after hearing this. Gao Ran suddenly asked under the influence of alcohol, Bro, tell me the truth. What kind of bet did you make with your dad 7 years ago? I'm really curious. Chin Chu raised his head and slowly replied, 7 years ago, I told my dad that I wanted to marry Huamin. He said yes, but you have to go abroad and come back to take over the family business in GK. He also said that you're not allowed to come back for 7 years, and you're not allowed to contact anyone in the country, especially Huamin. Otherwise, it would be considered a breach of contract. If I did that, then 7 years later, if I came back unmarried and neither Huamin was married, he would agree to our marriage. Oh my God. So this is the reason why you left without saying a word. Gao Ran was surprised. Chin Chu looked out of the window, and his eyes became deep and serene. 7 years ago, I was still young and did not have the qualifications to provide her with the best conditions. If we were blindly together, it would only lead to a tragedy. It would be better for me to bear the pain of this temporary separation for these 7 years in exchange for a lifetime with her. Gao Ran's eyes were filled with shock. Chin Chu, does she know what you're doing? She doesn't know. Oh my God, this woman. She doesn't know anything. You're really... Gao Ran didn't know what to say. He felt that Chin Chu's stubbornness was beyond normal. Chu, I think you're paranoid. I suggest you see a doctor. It's not good for you. Even if I'm paranoid, I'm only paranoid about her. I don't care about anything else. After staring at Chin Chu for a long time, Gao Ran said meaningfully, Huamin is really lucky, but I don't think she'll agree to marry you so easily, as far as I know. Gao Ran knew what kind of person Huamin was, and he also knew about the grudge between them 7 years ago. That's right. That's why I threatened her. When she needed my help, I brought up this condition. But aren't you afraid that she'll hate you for doing this? Gao Ran looked at his buddy, his eyes full of sympathy. After hearing this, Chin Chu's eyes darkened slightly. Chapter 98. One day, she'll understand. After speaking, Chin Chu picked up the white wine glass in his hand and downed it in one gulp. Gao Ran originally wanted a drink with his good friend to relieve his worries, but he didn't expect to be even more worried. When they came out, Qin Chu was supporting Gao Ran. He seemed to be a little drunk. Chu, let me tell you, Huamin, that damn girl has a twisted personality. If you like her, you'll suffer. But I'm so envious of you to have someone like her appear in your life and occupy your entire life. You can love her to the core. Sai, I'm so envious, Gao Ran said drunkenly. In the end, it was Qin Chu who drove Gao Ran back to the municipal bureau in his Maybach. Apparently, he was on duty for the rest of the night. At the municipal bureau, a few police officers began gossiping. Hey, the guy who drove our boss back just now, he's obviously our boss's good friend. Yeah, he's really good looking. Even a man like me is jealous. Our boss doesn't have a girlfriend. Is it because he likes men? I don't think so, but our boss is so masculine. If he were gay, he'd probably be the dominant one. Have you guys been too idle lately? All of you go out on missions. Gowran appeared at the door with his head in his hands. He wanted to drink some water, but he didn't want to hear his subordinates talking about their boss like that. Ha, boss, we're just joking. But speaking of which, your friend's car is really cool. He must be from a rich family, right? More than that, he's so rich that you won't be able to spend it all in your lifetime. Gao Ran took a sip of water and replied, Boss, does your friend have a girlfriend? My third sister is 27 this year, and she graduated with a master's degree. Before the police officer could finish, Gao Ran flicked his head. Hey, old song, didn't you say last time that you wanted to keep your third sister for Captain Gao? Another police officer interrupted. Gao Ran felt like his head was about to explode. Huamin had been busy in the hospital for the whole day. From time to time, he would take out his phone to check the time. Today, his phone was exceptionally quiet. There was not a single phone call. It seemed that she had spoken too harshly last night. Perhaps he was angry too? Huamin thought. Then, she got up and went to the lounge to get some water. Unexpectedly, she bumped into Ning Ziyuan as soon as she stepped out of the door. Mian. Ning Ziyuan's face was slightly red and reeked of alcohol. Is something the matter? I came specially to look for you. He stepped forward. Huamin instinctively took 2 steps back to put some distance between them. What is it? Speak. Are you still unwilling to forgive me? Ziyuan, we've already talked about this topic. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Huamin looked at him calmly. Mian, but I can't let you go. I feel like I still can't forget you. Ning Ziyuan's eyes were red, as if he was about to cry. Ziyuan, we're not kids anymore. Don't be like this. I know I was wrong. Mian, I'm sorry. Please give me another chance. This is the last chance, okay? Let's not talk about the past. Let's stick to our original plan and get married. Okay? I'll pay you back the down payment for the house. You don't have to pay for the mortgage in the future. Also, I'll let you drive my car and transfer it to your name. Okay? That's not the point. Ziyuan, we can't go back. Some things have already happened, and I can't pretend that I didn't know. It's like you stabbed someone. Although the wound has healed, the scar is still there. Do you understand? I don't understand. Anyways, I miss you. I don't want to be separated from you. After speaking, Ning Ziyuan drunkenly pounced on Huamin. He slammed Huamin onto the table behind him. Ning Ziyuan, what are you doing? Let go of me. Huamin struggled with all his might. However, no matter what Huamin said, Ning Ziyuan ignored him and kissed Huamin's slightly red lips. Chapter 99. At this critical moment, Huamin grabbed a ceramic pen holder from the table behind her and threw it at Ning Ziyuan's head. With a clang, Ning Ziyuan abruptly stopped what he was doing. He was completely stunned. Huamin took advantage of his shock to escape from his demonic grasp and dodged to the side. Mian, how dare you hit me? Ning Ziyuan sneered, his eyes filled with anger. This is all thanks to you, Ziyuan. There is no deep love between us, so there is no hatred. You've been so kind to me these past few years, and I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything? Huamin, I've been chasing you for the past few days. I bought you a lot of things and cared about you a lot. Haven't I? Do you still have a conscience when you say that? Have you been eaten by a dog? You heartless woman. Ning Ziyuan covered his slightly swollen forehead with a sinister smile. Huamian was calm the entire time. She looked at Ning Ziyuan with a complicated expression, but there was also some sympathy in her eyes. Yeah, you really bought a lot of things for me these few days. But all those things added together shouldn't be more than 30,000 yuan, right? And I used the 60,000 yuan I saved to buy a house for you as the down payment. The house was also written in your name. Now I don't want that money anymore. Isn't this even? In the end, who owes who? Even if you don't owe me money, what about love? Was that something that could be measured with money? Can you pay me back for all the love I've given you over the past few years? Ning Ziyuan roared. Huamin only smiled faintly at his words. Zion, we've known each other for so long. You should know that I'm not a calculated person. But since we're talking about this today, I might as well get straight to the point. These past few days, honestly speaking, you've been very good to me, but I've also been very good to you. I've been visiting your parents a lot, and when your relatives came to the hospital for treatment, not only did I have to use my connections to arrange a room for them, but I also had to work part-time as a caregiver. This is all because of you. Most importantly, Ning Ziyuan, let me ask you, if it weren't for me, would you be where you are today? Would you be standing here as a doctor at the first hospital, safe and sound? What do you mean by that? Ning Ziyuan was obviously a little guilty. What I mean is, you wouldn't have been able to graduate from medical school with your grades. I wrote your graduation thesis for you, and because of your excellent ophthalmology thesis, the first hospital's ophthalmology professor made an exception and promoted you. Plus, you've been working for so long, and I've been writing every academic document for you. Is that not enough? Tell me, what do I owe you now? After Ning Ziyuan heard this, he was speechless. If Huamin didn't remind him, he would have thought that he was an excellent ophthalmologist. However, Huamin did all of this for him. Back then, his grades in medical school were very average. Even when he was nearing graduation, due to the pressure, he often skipped classes to play online games with his roommates. In the end, he almost couldn't graduate. Even the most important graduation thesis was written by Huamin himself. It was because of that excellent thesis that he had the opportunity to enter the first hospital. After that, every time the hospital tested him, Huamin would prepare for him. He enjoyed the fruits of his labor and accepted the title of a genius doctor with a clear conscience. But was he a genius? Of course not. There was someone else who was a genius. It was just that no one knew about it. Then what do you want? Do you want to report me to the hospital? No one will believe you. After all, there's no evidence, Ning Ziyuan said proudly. Huamin's eyes were filled with disappointment when she heard this. She didn't know that a former lover could be so despicable after falling out. Evidence? Of course I have it. You have it. I don't believe you. You trusted me so much back then. You wouldn't have left any evidence. Although Ning Ziyuan said this, he was still a little flustered. Chapter 100. See? Even you know how much I trusted you back then. So why are you still feeling guilty? What are you afraid of? Tell on you? I don't have the time, nor do I need to. After all, it won't do me any good. I just want to say, Ziyuan, even though we've broken up, we're not enemies. After all, we were once together, and we won't be friends because we hurt each other. I admit that Qin Shu's unexpected intervention broke our relationship, but what you did after that really disappointed me. So, we won't cross paths again, and you don't need to have any more fantasies. I believe that with your current fame and status, you have plenty of good girls. You don't need me, Huamin, right? Of course. Ning Ziyuan immediately replied. Very well, I won't pursue what happened today, but this won't happen again. Please leave now and turn left. I won't see you out. Huamin sternly ordered him to leave. Ning Ziyuan covered his injured forehead, turned around, and walked to the door dejectedly. Suddenly, he turned around and looked at Huamin. Huamin immediately became alert. Huamin, now that things have come to this, I want to ask you something from the bottom of my heart. I've never loved anyone, Huamin coldly said. Okay, I understand. Ning Ziyuan bitterly smiled, turned around, and left. Huamin finally let out a sigh of relief. She didn't think that Ning Ziyuan would suddenly come and cause such a scene. Luckily, there was no one else in the consultation room, or else it would have been so embarrassing. Not long after, the little nurse, Huang Yu, walked in. When she saw the pen holder on the floor, she exclaimed, "Oh my God, what happened? My poor pen holder." I'm sorry, I accidentally broke something just now. I'll buy you a new one." Huang Yu pouted, looking wronged. "And a meal of Kentucky Fried Chicken," Huamin immediately added, knowing the nature of the young nurse. "Okay, deal." Huang Yu immediately smiled. "Speaking of which, senior sister, you've been very generous recently. You can even treat me to KFC. Tell me, did you get rich?" "No. If I were rich, I would have resigned long ago." "Then, are you hooking up with a rich man?" Huang Yu asked mysteriously. Huamin thought for a while. Was Qin Chu a tycoon? That shouldn't be the case. He's already considered a billionaire, right? Therefore, he shook his head. "I don't have a sugar daddy." "Oh, then I understand. Your brother's case is over. The perpetrator must have paid a lot of money, right?" Huang Yu giggled. "Yes, that's right." Huamin was really afraid that this girl would ask more questions, so he just nodded vaguely. However, the truth was she didn't get a single cent from Jixin's case. The other victims all received money. She originally wanted to sue the court and get hospitalization fees. However, she didn't expect that in the end, because of Qin Chu's intervention, that brat and his family were all in trouble. They were already in jail. What compensation could they get? In short, this time, Jixin was fine. That was the biggest relief. "All right, it's lunchtime. Let's go to the cafeteria. If we're late, there won't be any good food." Before Huamin could say anything, Huang Yu pulled Huamin and hurriedly walked towards the cafeteria. The hospital's cafeteria was located on the second basement floor. It was only open to the hospital's medical staff. However, most doctors didn't eat here. Because of their high salaries, they ordered takeout with their own money. Interns like Huamin and Huang Yu, on the other hand, didn't get paid much and didn't get many subsidies. That was why they ate here. It was lunchtime. There were a lot of people, but the environment was very good. Huang Yu and Huamin found a corner facing each other. Just as they were about to sit down, they heard a female voice shout very impolitely, "Huamin, you bitch, come out." Chapter 101. Senior Hua, I think someone's calling for you. "I heard it too," Huamin said quietly. "Huamin, where are you? Come out." The hysterical female voice came from a woman who was also wearing a white lab coat. Her long hair was wavy, and she was quite pretty. She was wearing flirtatious makeup and looked extremely upset. "Senior Hua, over there." Isn't that the nurse from the ophthalmology department?" Huang Yu pointed at the door. Huamin turned around. When he saw He-Man, his expression remained calm. At this moment, He-Man seemed to have noticed Huamin as well. She walked directly towards him with a menacing look on her face. "Senior Hua, I don't think anything good is going to happen. You should be careful," Huang Yu reminded her quietly. Huamin nodded, but didn't say anything. "Huamin, get up. Do you need something?" "Of course I do. Do you think I'm here to have a heart-to-heart talk with you?" "Sorry, I don't have time for a heart-to-heart talk. I don't know you that well." Huamin sat down and continued eating, ignoring He-Man. He-Man was furious. She pointed at Huamin and yelled, "Stop pretending. Tell me, are you bothering my Ziyuan again?" "Your Ziyuan? When did this happen?" He-Man was slightly stunned. Then she said, "Don't pretend you don't know. Ning Ziyuan and I have been together for a long time. Didn't you already know that?" Huamin nodded slightly. Then he replied thoughtfully, "Oh, so you were the one who was having sex with him in his bedroom last weekend?" "What? Last weekend?" He-Man's expression was a little ugly. It wasn't you? Could it be?" Huamin continued to ask. "Of course it was me." He-Man's words were a little forced. "Anyone could tell. Since you knew that we were together, why did you go looking for him? Didn't you guys break up?" "Yes, I went to ask him for the down payment of 60,000 yuan. We planned to get married, so I also paid for the house." "Really? I've never heard Ziyuan mention it," He-Man said arrogantly. "Really? That's a pity. It seems that you haven't progressed to the stage of building a house yet. You don't try to twist words and force logic." He-Man was at a loss for words. Originally, she had come here arrogantly to denounce Huamin, but she didn't expect that the usually gentle Huamin would be so eloquent. Every word he said made sense. She didn't know what to say. Let me ask you, did you injure Ziyuan's head? Yeah. What right do you have? Is my Ziyuan someone a woman, like you can lay your hands on? You're just an ex-girlfriend who was dumped. What right do you have to ask about Ziyuan? I knew it. You must have been trying to pester him, but he didn't want to get back together. That's why you hit him, right? Huamin's eyes turned cold. She slowly raised her head and asked, "Is that what Ning Ziyuan told you?" Ziyuan didn't say, but that's what I guessed. Everyone in the hospital knows what kind of person you are. Senior, you're a good person. Everyone in the OB/GYN department knows that. Huang Yu interjected. This is none of your business. Shut up. He-Man pointed at Huang Yu and scolded her fiercely. Are you done with your nonsense? If you're done, then leave. We're still eating. I don't want to lose my appetite because of this. Huamin ordered her to leave. She didn't want to continue with He-Man's unreasonable pestering. Huamin felt like a clown because everyone was looking at her. This wasn't in line with Hua Min's usual low-key personality. Eat, eat, eat. What are you eating? I'll let you eat, you bitch. After speaking, He-Man flipped Hua Min's plate in front of everyone. Rice and vegetable soup spilled all over the floor. Some even sprayed on a Hua Min's white lab coat. Everyone was dumbfounded. No one expected He-Man to do something so extreme. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.